Come to my live stream. I'm just a streaming dirt bag baby.
I'm a sexy Asian woman.
Come to my live stream. Don't say maybe. It never ends till you go crazy. Oh, 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 oh. I'm just a streaming dirt bag baby. Come to my live stream. Don't say maybe. It never ends till you go crazy. Oh, 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 oh. Thank you, Uncle Remus. Thank you, Wesley. And thank you, everybody who came. Now that's a franchise I'd watch.
I think you know why you are here. There's a part of you that the normies fear. Know the truth is what you seek, so we welcome you to the home of geeks, of the oddball, the neglected, the outcast, the rejected. We're all here to celebrate. And we learn as a voice to be heard. 'Cause here everyone's up. There's no need to be a Pat-clad. We've done away with all the hatred. Every show you love is here. So kick back and grab a beer. There's plenty of discussion, no agenda that we're pushing. We're just here to celebrate. Anti-Gregory, rebels in the wonders and the strange. Whenever we are here, you see clear, there's no fear. Until you study every word, as a voice to be heard. 'Cause here everyone's a third. We are a sci-fi menagerie. We've got every alien from A to Z. We know this is where you want to be. We're the greatest channel in the galaxy. Anti-Gregory, rebels in the wonders and the strange. Whenever we are here, you see clear, there's no fear. Because study every word, and the voice to be heard. 'Cause here everyone's a third.
return to your scheduled programming shortly, or we are currently experiencing technical difficulties.
Death to Katarora!
Hey guys. Oh shoot, I didn't set up the green screen, but I apologize. I'm still really sore. I actually skipped out on Midnight's Edge last night because I was just hurting too bad. I also have to apologize for starting a little bit late. What happened, basically, it's entirely my fault. I set the alarm for 1 a.m. That's what time the episode is released, my time zone. And I hit the alarm button and then immediately fell back asleep. And fortunately, I just happened to glance at the clock at 2, and I was like, holy crap, I'm an hour late. And went upstairs just like literally moments ago, finished watching the episode, and here we are. So I am truly sorry. It was, like I said, I'm not trying to put the blame on anybody but myself, but it is what it is. Now, I do have a special guest coming on here. I'm just waiting for that person to dial in, and so let me know when you're ready, or just dial in. All you got, just go ahead and dial in whenever you're ready, my friend, and we'll talk about it. And there he is. And greetings, evil dictator.
Kapla, good morning.
How you doing today, Bird?
I could have done my entire review in the time it took you to watch this.
I'm so sorry, man. I assume you heard my little
I did.
thing.
It's okay.
It is entirely my fault, but because we talked a little bit last night, I did skip out on Midnight's Edge, and I honestly am hurting pretty bad right now, but I've got myself together enough.
Well, you gave DJ Odyssey and Ensign Ricky a chance to shine.
Yeah, I saw that they were streaming, and sorry, DJ and Ensign Ricky, if you feel like I stepped on your toes, it wasn't intentional.
No, they were streaming for quite a while.
Oh, were they? Okay.
I mean, I don't want to speak for them, but yeah, I was getting tired of them.
So,
I'm kidding.
So tell me, Bird, I'm still kind of digesting it a little bit. What's your first reaction to Stardust City Rag?
Ichib, why?
Oh,
why
man.
did they have to kill Ichib?
Ichib was so gut-wrenching to see
Oh
him.
my god, it was also the bloodiest scene I think I've ever seen in a Trek movie or show.
Yeah.
By far.
I think...
Like, Mamo Prey's not going to be able to watch that scene.
Yeah, I think ripping his eyeball out was too much.
Did he even have an eyeball? Did he have two eyes?
Ichib, yeah, I think he did.
Then why did they need his eye?
To get to his cortical implant, that's what they said.
But you don't need to rip out one eye to get to a cortical implant.
Well,
it looked like his cortical implant was somewhere in his head.
It sounds like, honestly, that they were intentionally trying to make...
I'm reading the chat right now, Thomas.
They were trying to make the person cruel. They were I can't remember the name.
DJ says it was an artificial eye.
I don't buy that.
I mean, why would it have an optic nerve if it was an artificial eye?
Yeah, I think it was Ichib's real eye. It's just that I think that this person feels like, and because 7 and 9 even talked about it, that she likes to take the Borg implants out of these people without anesthetic or anything like that, just rips them to shreds and gets off on it. And so I think that she did it just to hurt him. And so, it was brutal, it was cruel, and ugh. And yeah, guys, I'm sorry if I'm missing the chat. We'll get to the chat in a little bit, but I wanted to kind of just...
I mean, in Voyager, Ichib did have two human-looking eyes.
Right.
So...
Okay,
I guess so.
Yeah, so we got the brutal violation of Ichib, which I gotta say was an emotional gut punch. Is well done, except for I think the eye was a little too gory. I want to say it ruined the episode, but it started off on the wrong foot for me. All right, so move on. So then, how did you feel as we went through it?
I would say this was the weakest episode yet for me.
You think?
I'm not gonna say it's bad, but I would say it's the weakest yet. I know a lot of people probably think this is the best episode yet, but
I'm torn on it. because it had some really out of place moments, like the eyeball and stuff like that, and the scene with Rafi and her son. That
was
felt
like,
completely forced and out of left field. But
I also hate we can't tell who's Romulan and who's Vulcan anymore.
right. So those were the two, but the Rafi scene with her son and the Icheb eyeball were the weakest points of the episode for me.
Well, I'd say now we know why. So Rafi's got to join the quest because the only way to get her son's respect is to prove Mars was an inside job.
Right.
So that's why she's going to join.
Right, because he really, the son clearly believed that she was
not job.
Yeah, and so, but the funny thing about it though, so here's where I'm a little confused, honestly, is on Rafi's backstory now, and this is part of the reason I think the scene is so weak, because this was going through my head while I was watching it. It was like, wait a minute, Picard made his stand, he quit, then they fired Rafi, and then she abandons her family and moves into a trailer at Vasquez Rocks? I
guess that she must have had a family, because we don't see her family in the comics. She looks like she's just a first officer on a big starship. So maybe her family was with her on the starship, and then they all got thrown out, and then her husband left with her son. I don't know. It doesn't make a hell of a lot of sense.
Right. And so that really threw me off. I don't understand what the point of that was.
Although apparently she was even a drug addict or whatever at the time, because her son knew that she said she's clean, which she isn't, which is a lie. Right. She was on this snake leaf, whatever, just the day before.
Well,
that doesn't count. That's like weed in the future.
Although, and here's the other thing that really kind of is off about that is when they were approaching Free Cloud, she got the ad for Space Week, right?
Yeah, so they knew she was.
And Ensign Ricky throws a couple of bucks in and says they make her out, they make out to be an addict, so it works. Are you saying that? Because I didn't see your stream with DJ earlier. Are you saying you seriously think she works because she's a drug addict, or you're saying that's the thinking of the writers?
I think she's saying the scene works with the son that.
Oh, because she's an addict.
Because she's an addict.
But here's the thing. That's not. But if that were it, if it were, because I gotta say that aspect of this is where the actress who plays Rafi,
the arc works. The arc works.
I think the actress that plays Rafi really pulled off that. Crazy drug addict trying to make good. I felt that. The problem is that she was sitting there acting like a drug addict trying to get off of whatever her drug is and saying, no, I'm going to make it right. I'm going to make it right. But he was more pissed off about the conspiracy theory. And so that's where the disconnect is. She portrayed the drug addict perfectly, but he was not pissed about the drugs. He was pissed about the fact that she's a 9/11 truther or whatever you want to call it.
Mars truther.
Yeah, Mars truther. And Ensign with another $2 says, happened to me in real life. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. And I personally, I've never been through that, but I know people that have, so I can only imagine. That's, and that's the thing. Going through something like that, I get that. I think that it's just that it was, to me, and you tell me if I'm wrong, if I'm going crazy here, Bird, but didn't it feel like she and her son were talking about two totally different things?
No, definitely. The son was pissed at the fact that she gave up on the family, or she didn't care about the family. She went all into this conspiracy. I guess she probably, neglected the family when they needed her, and went into this whole big thing about, oh no, the Federation or whatever, the Romulans, who knows, is behind Mars, and probably just to the point that they couldn't live with her, and they left, or she left, whatever.
Right.
That's what he was pissed about. I don't think he cared about her smoking a little snake leaf every now and then.
Just space weed. That's fine.
Whatever.
I mean, that's
I know.
yeah. So that to me was, while that scene was well acted on the part of the girl who played Rafi, the son and her Romvulcan, whatever the heck she is. I'm assuming she's a Romulan because she had ridges. And so, yeah, he was just completely out of left field. If he was just pissed off about mom being a drug addict, that scene would have been gold. And so, all right.
I wonder if the son is pissed because she was blaming Romulans and his wife is Romulan.
I could kind of see that. It would be like if you had a person who was very zealous about Pearl Harbor and a family member was married to a Japanese person.
Yeah.
Like
the year after
right.
Pearl Harbor happened.
But that could have actually made it better had they played into it. That's the problem, is that there was so much there they could have done, but instead they had this kind of disjointed feeling.
I'm not even 100% sure she was a Romulan, to be honest.
I think she was, just because it wouldn't have been logical for a Vulcan to move to the casino planet with,
I don't know. We just watched the Maquis parts 1 and 2 on my DS9 stream, and there's a Vulcan there buying weapons for the Maquis.
Well,
and falling in love with Quark.
Okay. Maybe you're right. Maybe Vulcan women are just really crazy.
I'm just saying.
Yeah. Now, I do think that despite all the crap about the costumes and stuff, that part worked.
Yeah, that was the least of the problems.
Yeah.
Although I'll be honest, Picard putting on that accent and
Picard being a pirate was kind of silly, but at the same time, you knew he was being silly.
That was a bit ridiculous. Okay, so a lot of things. There's a lot. I mean, I sent you that screenshot.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know if you want to put it up or not, but
give me just a minute, and because I suck at Skype,
at the internet.
I do. I pretty much suck at the internet. That's a fair statement. Man, I need better glasses. There's the Skype chat. There's Joe.
Okay, you guys heard it here. Turtistani vision ophthalmology is poor at best.
When did I deny that? No, it's not. No, it's not that it's not our ophthalmology that sucks. It's just my vision sucks. All right, here's the screenshot. It's up on the screen now.
Okay, so obviously there's quite a few Easter eggs, if you want, in there.
Most notable being Mott.
I would say most notable being Quark. Quark Bar.
Yeah, but see, here's the problem. First of all, it's not Quarks, it's just Quark. So that...
And next to it says, "What is yours is ours."
Yes, that's funny. But you see, why isn't Armin Shimmerman in this episode?
They talked about him.
But why the hell isn't Armin Sherman?
Because he's not going to put on 8 hours of makeup for a 5-minute cameo or a 1-minute cameo.
But it would have been so freaking awesome had that whole standoff taken place in Quarks.
Totally, it would have. And he should have been. There should have been Ferengi all over this planet.
Yeah, that was what I kept... Here's the thing, is that, sure, they throw the name Quark out there. Haha, great Easter egg. But where the hell are the Ferengi? Because this is a Ferengi heaven right here.
Apparently, I think it was Thomas. Somebody said there was one female Ferengi credited in the credits.
I didn't
see him.
Yeah, it would be a her.
Yeah, I didn't see her.
I know you're thinking the she-male thing, but no, it was...
No, I gotcha.
Yeah, but and I also like the the notice that
the Mott's is funny too.
Yeah, I like Mott's, and I also like the Dabu the table floating in front of the sign for Quarks. I just the thing is that it almost it just felt like damn, this is begging for a cameo, or even. I mean, Quark should have been a significant role in this, because the whole thing, you could replace Mr. Lizard with Quark. Quark should have been the intermediary.
Nah, I don't want Quark doing stuff this.
Quark has done stuff this shady on DS9.
No, come on. Quark has been redeemed. You can't have Quark doing stuff this shady.
Oh, come on. Quark will do
No.
anything in the name of profit.
No,
don't get me wrong,
I would totally hate on this show if they brought Quark in as a criminal like Vogue or whatever the hell his name is. No, I'd be done.
Well, but he wasn't. Well, here's the thing: I wouldn't have had Quark.
I'm not even sure I like them bringing up his name in the way they did, to be honest.
Wow, so now you hear that Kuroga seems to worship the altar of Quark all the time.
I worship at the altar of Deep Space Nine, and if they're going to start screwing up with my Deep Space Nine characters, they're going to have hell to pay.
Yeah, and Ensign Ricky puts in another $2, says, I hope they have a cameo they never announced.
Well, E-Chip was a cameo. I don't think they announced.
Yeah,
I didn't know he was going to be on it. I mean, hopefully there'll still be more. But yeah, I had no idea E-Chip was going to be in this.
Right.
He was a welcome surprise until they pulled out his eye while he was still alive.
Yeah. And here's my problem is, now granted they'll only get so far on the graphic violence, but why did Seven have to kill him? It didn't seem like he was fatally wounded.
He was really in pain, Anti-Trigger. It hurt.
Right, so what if she stuns him?
It hurts to have your eye removed.
Oh, no, I'm not saying he wouldn't be in a lot of pain, but here's the thing. If I'm laying on the ground and somebody plucked out my eye and I'm sitting there writhing in pain, but I'm not, like, fatally wounded, I'm going to be like, give me something for the pain and get me to the frickin' hospital. I'm not going to be, just kill me.
That would have much less dramatic effect.
And yes, but I don't want to die for the sake of. I don't want to die for the sake of dramatic.
You don't have a choice. It was written: if you die, you die.
And Spartan says there's nothing wrong with kissing ass if you get paid. Pretty sure that was a rule of acquisition somewhere. That's the thing. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying make Quark a mustache twirling villain. I'm saying that Quark would broker a deal. And here's the thing, if you want to sit there and try and argue about the ethics of Quark, well, he's got a place on this planet that's obviously lacking in any kind of ethics.
Yeah, it's probably just a franchise. Mm-hmm. He's only collecting a franchise fee.
And by the way, hey, Dr. Alex, sorry I'm not following the chat real quick. I did see you join in and welcome my English friend.
I mean, if he was the actual owner, they would have said for Quark of this, head of this establishment, not Quark of Ferenginar. I'm not even happy he's on Ferenginar.
Well, I still, that's, I think, one of the biggest missed opportunities is no Ferengi. Even if it wasn't Quark himself, there should have been a Ferengi running that bar. But overall, the Canto Bight scenes, I thought, were fairly well done, despite Picard's silly accent. I think Rios really sold his part. I also liked that they basically told Elnar to just shut up.
Rios is becoming a favorite character.
I liked him in this one. I liked him.
And Elnor, I mean, he never left that planet as he went, I mean, I guess from wherever he came to that planet, and he spent 14 years living with nuns. He doesn't know the real world.
Right, well, that's the thing. He doesn't know, remember, like...
I'm kind of surprised they even gave him a gun.
My favorite part of the whole thing was when he looked at Picard and said, so are we still pretending?
Yeah, he's like the Data now, or the Spock.
And I understand Dreamers out there, yeah, what they did to Ichep was not okay, but I get why that was Seven's whole motivation.
And Manos fan, I didn't remember Ichep being on Voyager when they reached Earth, but apparently he was, I'm told.
Yeah, he was a regular reoccurring character after they picked him up.
But he had no scenes in Endgame that I remember.
Yeah, but do you think they ejected him out the airlock?
I don't know. I thought maybe they left him at some planet or something.
Just because you would have ejected him out the airlock.
I wouldn't have ejected him. I just honestly thought that they had left him on some planet, maybe he found a family. I forgot what, but if he wasn't in Endgame, I mean, how was he not going to be affected by getting home to Earth?
Dreamers out there and Ensign Ricky say he was in Endgame.
He was in Endgame? Okay, well, I gotta rewatch Endgame.
Yeah, that's such a great episode, isn't it?
Valor says, Bird of Prey, what I don't get is DS9 isn't that great of a show. And the only good things about the show was Odo and Nog. The show outside of them was meh. Valor,
Don't say that to Bird, please.
you need to. I'll be as kind as I can. I respectfully believe you should rewatch the show start to finish. Deep Space Nine was a shining light in Trek. It is easily, easily the best of the second generation Treks, and almost, if not better than TOS, in my opinion.
I will actually echo what you just said, except for the almost better than TOS. I do think that DS9 is easily the best of Generation 2 of Trek. I really do. I think that anybody that says otherwise, the only reason to say DS9 wasn't is to try and argue that it was counter to Gene's vision. But all good Trek is counter to Gene's vision. I think that's pretty well established.
DJ says, Bird, the only good thing about DS9 was Esri.
No, Esri was, I think, a weak link. I did not like the Esri. I think there was stupid.
The only two good things about DS9 were Lita.
That's good. Who said that, or is that just you?
I said that.
Okay. So there you go. Bird says the only two good things about DS9 were Lita. Right there, Bird said it.
Okay, so I guess I'm wrong. Each was in Endgame. I apologize. I will rewatch Endgame.
So we got, but anyway, and I think that's actually, I think, part of what and you know what? I never thought about this until just now, Bird, but I wonder if the people who are enjoying Picard, people like you and me, are also the same people that think Deep Space Nine was really good. Because in a way, this has a very Deep Space Nine vibe to it. It's just like if you were to make Deep Space Nine today. Like this screenshot that you sent me, that's the frickin' promenade filmed in the 21st century.
I mean, I can't speak for others out there, but it's a theory. I know Doomcock said, well, he likes Deep Space Nine. He mentioned recently he hasn't seen it in many, many, many years. Mm-hmm. So I would say if you haven't rewatched Deep Space Nine in the last 5 years, that's probably not a great sign that you loved it.
Right.
You just liked it.
As far as rewatchability, I will tell you that when I go back to, like, if I have, during my leave of absence from work, for example, if I have some time, I'm going to either go to one of my favorites from the original series, or I'm going to watch the Dominion arc, because I think the Dominion arc was brilliant. And in fact, I probably rewatched the episode of the Jem'Hadar a half a dozen times over the last year, because I love that episode. Quark in that episode absolutely shines. But like I said, I think that Picard has a similar vibe. Like, people argue that Picard isn't the same old Star Trek. It's not the same old Starfleet and all that. No, it's actually more like the world of Deep Space Nine, which Deep Space Nine, like Picard, is not is a show where Starfleet is not the center of the universe. Right. If you look at the original series, TNG, Voyager, and Enterprise, Starfleet is everywhere. I know Voyager's...
That's a good point.
Yeah,
that's a great point, actually.
Even though Voyager's on the other side of the galaxy, the entire show takes place on a Starfleet ship, right? And so it feels Starfleet. Deep Space Nine was the only show up until Picard to not be set in a Federation installation of some kind, a Federation ship or Federation base. And so, actually, all the others were on a Federation ship, so I guess there's that. Deep Space Nine was really the only one to not be set on a ship at all. But if you look at Picard, it's very similar. It's just that we're on a civilian ship. Now, I don't particularly care for his... And you're right, well, Starfleet is what I said the first time, DJ. That's what I meant, Starfleet, not Federation. With Picard, we're on a civilian ship, we're on civilian planets, we're doing civilian stuff, just Picard happens to be that guy that used to be a legendary Starfleet officer.
The other thing, and they brought this up a little, is nobody recognized Picard because he had an eye patch on.
Well, you know,
And then as soon as they took the eye patch off, oh, Admiral Picard.
no, it was actually not the eye patch. It wasn't until Maddox said Picard.
But still.
Maddox recognized him right away, which made sense.
But then the girl recognized him.
Well, no, but she didn't like recognize his face when Maddox said Picard. She was
Why
like,
not? Why could you? How? I mean, his face was all over the news. Apparently.
Okay, let me ask you this:
He was a hero. Everybody knew who he was.
if General Schwarzkopf walked into the room,
Storm and Norman,
Yeah.
I would.
No,
I would
I'm not
shake
saying
his
you.
hand.
I'm not saying you. But if General Schwarzkopf walked into an average room, how many people do you think in the room would actually recognize? Say there's 100 people in the room. How many people would actually recognize him the minute he walked in the room? And keep in mind, not in uniform. All right, and he's one.
I just watched a video where literally no one could point out any country in the world, so I have a hard time refuting that.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, in fact, the only military person that is recognizable to people, really, it would probably be Colin Powell. And even him in civilian clothes walking into a room, people might say, he looks kind of familiar.
Valor says Bird of Prey. I don't like DS9, mainly because of Cisco, the Bajor thing, Cisco being the son of God, etc. Also, I don't like how they handled space combat. Wrath of Khan, that combat I like better. Okay, well let's just address one thing. Cisco was not the son of God.
He was
the son of alien beings that they called the prophets. And arguably, he wasn't even a son. He was human by all accounts. It's just that an alien had taken control of one human woman to reproduce with one specific man, and he was born.
Right.
As for Cisco, he was one of the best things about Deep Space Nine. The Bajor thing, also one of the best things about Deep Space Nine. I guess we're just going to have to agree to disagree, Valor.
And let me, Ryan says it depends on if he did just make the news interview that showed all over the world. Well, first of all, yeah, you're right. It was an interview that was broadcast everywhere and all that. So tell me, who was the last big interview that you can think of right now? I mean, you tell me, but what's the last person sitting down and doing an interview on the news that you remember?
Bill Clinton, and he said, I did not have sexual relations with that woman.
Okay.
Ms. Lewinsky.
So even though there have been a bazillion interviews since then, including interviews of high-ranking government officials, interviews of military people, all that, but really the one that sticks out to your mind right now is Bill Clinton, I didn't have sexual relations with that woman, which, by the way, wasn't even an interview.
I thought he interviewed on
I thought when he actually said that it was a
that was under yeah, he was under oath.
Yeah, and so that so the thing is that like think about the Sarah Palin interview, right?
Gotcha.
You know, one-on-one, because that's what we had in Picard. Basically, what we had in Picard was the Sarah Palin interview.
It wouldn't surprise me that no one in that bar watches the Federation news.
Exactly. I mean, look at where we're at. Okay. All right. So Thomas puts $10 in the chat. Thank you so much, my dear friend, and says this episode was bad. I'll give you my out of 10 after I watch it. Just kidding. 7.5 out of 10. Don't like this dictator made you miss chat. It's a Bird of Prey evil plan and Mega Chat number 6. All right. I will play Mega Chat number 6. Can you stand by for just a minute, Bird?
Sure.
All right. I appreciate it.
Of course, I can't stand, you know that.
Oh, dear God, that blow to the head. That hurt. Oh, whoa. However, through the pain, STD suddenly doesn't seem quite so bad. Maybe I was wrong about Anti-Tracker after all.
Now, Birdo Prey 5, I cannot order a mafia hit against the anti-trekker for you. Due to you asking for this, I will be reporting you to the local and federal authorities.
Son of a bitch! Son of a bitch!
You think I have Mega 6 wrong on the website? Maybe Anti-Trigger just pushed the wrong button.
I hit number 6. What do you have listed as Mega 6?
I don't know. I got to go to it. Let's see. General discussion. Website's slow in the middle of the night. All the databases are backing up. Come on.
That's not the database backing up.
Har. It seems like the website is not responding right now.
So, Bird of Prey, my wonderful IT director.
Oh, here we go. Okay, it just came up. Known super chats, my number. It's just slow. This is the time of night. Things are happening. It's gonna be another minute. Okay, Mega 6, I have as Feces and Lorehead need money with Birdo Prey
really?
5.
Okay, let me check that. Maybe I did. No, I could have sworn that's 5.
Which one was this?
Oh,
It was
dear
the Dr.
God,
Who
that
one.
blow to the head.
I saw it, but I don't
hurt.
see it listed here. Maybe this 7? Maybe I don't think I ever
7
added
is-
this.
There we go. So, relax for a minute, Bird, while this plays. This is what Thomas wanted.
Spinning Spock has space dyslexia. Next on Six Ad World.
Laura, this sucks. Let's go get some money. Hi. I'm Feces. This is Lorehead. Can we have some money?
Feces, Loreface. What kind of names are those?
My name is Lorehead, sir. Lorehead. Like, my head is full of lore. Get it?
Yeah. And I'm Feces. Like poop.
Anyway, boys, I sure could use a hand from a couple of strong young lads.
Okay.
You see, I've been stuck in this dang old hospital bed for nigh about a decade now, and I can't adjust it quite right. Can you boys reach that lever under the bed?
I don't know.
Yeah, that's it. Just give it a nice hard yank.
Who said yank?
Yeah.
Hey, baby, come to Lorehead.
Laura, what are you doing with that lever? Come on, man, I want to turn.
Son of a bitch! You stupid kids, you don't ever listen. What the hell am I supposed to do now?
I don't know.
Damn it.
There we go. So that was number 7.
That was 7?
That was 7. Feces, Feces and Lorehead is number 7.
Son of a bitch. Now I've got to edit it. I thought the Dr. Alex one was 7.
Yeah. Huh.
Okay. Now I got to go re-edit it.
All right.
Change them up.
So Ryan says, if I saw an interview and that person walked in the room a few weeks later, I probably know, unless they were wearing an eye patch, then they'd totally be disguised. But the thing is that, do you really think the people on Canto Bite here watch the freaking news? That's, do you really think that these people are glued to 60 Minutes on Sunday night, or are they out rolling the dice at Quarks?
Honestly, I would say that the woman in charge probably knows what's going on. She has to. The regular people in the bar, I would say they don't know, but
I don't know. I think she'd be
higher
more
up, she
concerned
probably
with
has
dealing
to
with the
know.
Rangers than she is
I
caring
don't
about
know.
what's
You
going
don't.
on back.
If you carry power like that, you've got to know what's going on.
And Dreamers out there said they recast each of Maddox. The original Maddox actor has a different job. Each of actor I could see not wanting to do this. Well, each of recast. I thought it was the same guy.
No, it was
I mean,
her cat.
you only really get a glimpse of him, but I mean, they got the shape of his head right, but then that's all prosthetics.
I mean, he was recognizable. I'll give you that.
Yeah.
As soon as I saw his face, I was like, oh my god, it's Ichib.
Yeah. So they did a good job recasting Maddox. I was really hoping to see the original guy. I don't know why he didn't do it, but yeah.
He had very few credits in IMDb. He might not be acting that much.
Yeah, the last credit he has on IMDb was 2014.
Yeah,
So then Spartan says, I will admit I'm torn between you and Bird. On one hand, Kuroga and the altar of Quark. On the other hand, Martok. Well, hey, I'm sorry. Martok, here's the thing. Martok definitely beats Quark any day. Now, Nog, of course, will stand with Martok because Nog and Martok had words, and that was a great scene.
And regardless, they're all in Deep Space Nine. So.
That's true. Martok, Quark, both on the, and I'm the first to admit, even though I'm a TOS guy all the way, Martok is the greatest Klingon of all time.
Just so I'm 100% sure. Number 6 is Dr. Alex?
Yes, number 6 is Dr. Alex. Number 7 is Feces and Lorehead.
Okay. So
featuring Bird of Prey 5.
That has been updated and corrected.
Right. So, by the way, I can't wait. You know that one song that I put on the creators page on Discord?
Yeah, I don't check that very often.
The song that I performed.
The song that you performed?
Yeah.
I didn't listen to it.
Really? Seriously?
I honestly didn't know it was there.
Anyway, Joshua is working on getting that. Getting a video done for it, but yeah. Let's see. And Valor says, I agree with you, Quark would be that type of person. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. I'm not saying Quark is evil, but Quark would definitely broker the meeting. Just like he did that kind of crap on Deep Space Nine over and over and over. I don't know why Bird is thinking Quark is like this moral pillar now.
I don't know. I guess he could do the meeting. Because that guy wasn't only the meeting, he was also her security guard.
Right, but I'm saying you could still have Lizard. In fact, Lizard Guy could work for Quark. Quark would hire Muscle to keep him safe. And
I also don't want Quark to be killed.
Well, no, I say kill the Lizard Guy, but at the end of that scene, like you have Seven blowing up everybody in the place, and then the last thing you see is Seven leaves the room is Quark's head popping up from behind the bar.
I don't know, why would she leave anybody alive at that point? And the whole other thing is the entire thing about if you kill her, these guys are going to have a price on their head wherever they go.
Like they won't have a price on their head if they don't kill her.
But then she's like, okay, you're right. And he's like, well, you'll find her again. And then, of course, she just beams right down and kills her immediately anyway.
Yeah.
First, why wouldn't that lady have security, immediately go to security or have security come to her? Why are they waiting 5 minutes for the second round of security?
I don't know. That was another weak point in the episode. I did not like that Seven killed her.
I don't mind Seven killed her. Just after explaining that she wasn't going to kill her, because it would make their life harder.
But here's the thing: Rios was right. Okay. Rios, when Rios convinced Seven to not murder her, he did the right thing.
But apparently, it was just enough for them to beam out.
Right, but
they could have beamed out anyway.
But here's the problem. That whole scene with Rios convincing Seven to not commit murder was probably the single most Star Trek moment in the entire series of Picard so far.
I'll grant you. That's when, okay, Rios still has some Federation principles, Starfleet principles inside of him.
Right.
And it's all undone 10 seconds later.
Right. And so that is, it's like, huh? Wait. Because and that's the problem, is that Seven did the opposite of a redemption arc. Seven, she was redeemed and now she's not. Now she's a murderer.
I don't know.
You don't think she's a murderer?
I think it's justifiable. She killed a really, really bad person.
I understand that. I'm not saying.
There's no law. There's no justice in that area. It's free cloud. So you've got to take justice into your own hands. I don't think Odo would have felt bad about that woman dying. He would have called it justice.
Well, I don't know. I don't.
If they were in the Federation and they could have taken her back for trial, and she could have spent the rest of her life in a Federation rehabilitation colony, maybe you could say, well, she should have done something. But they're not in Federation space. There is no justice. There is no law. They make their own. There's no trial.
All right. Well, does the lack of Federation presence then justify murder? If Kirk,
you've got to kill a killer.
Wait.
Yes, I mean, if somebody was killing people and I killed them, yes.
So you're telling me that if Janeway decided, you know what, I've had enough, and she goes to a Kazon planet and beams in and straight up murders Seska, that would have been fine. Because
Janeway's on a Starfleet ship. Wherever the Starfleet ship is, it's basically Starfleet. Okay? It's like a U.S. Navy vessel, I imagine. Now, granted, I wasn't Navy, but every time I see somebody talk about the Navy, like an aircraft carrier, like it's a piece of the United States. And I'm like, okay, well, if you're on an aircraft carrier, you I guess you follow.
So if Rios' ship was a Federation starship, then it would be murder. But
then it would be murder, exactly, because they should have taken her up to the ship, and they would take her back to the Federation, and she would stand some type of trial.
Well, that's what. But you see, that's the problem. Is that and this is what I don't understand. Why didn't they just take her?
That was another thing. I was like, why didn't they just take her with them? And like, well, you can't kill us if she's with us. And then, they could just beam her into space once they
no, you see, you keep going back to murder. No. I'm saying, okay, so you beam her up, put her in the brig or whatever, or just lock her in.
I don't know that they have a brig.
Well, they could still lock her in some quarters or something. I'm sure they could do something. And even if they didn't have quarters for her, guess what? You go to the holodeck, turn off the safeties, create a jail cell in the holodeck, and throw her in that. And Picard will just have to deal without having his chateau for a while, which
just put a cell in the chateau.
Right. But so you could definitely deal with her. So you beam her up with you. You hold her as a prisoner, which does two things. A, it could be motivation for bad guys to be after them now, and which would just add a little chase factor to everything. And B, would not turn 7 of 9 into a murderer.
Well, I'm pretty sure that there's not going to be any chasing going on from those guys. And I think, because next episode is, according to what we see with the actors, next episode is supposedly the one with Riker and Troy. So I don't think they're in as much of a rush to get to the Borg artifact as it made out to be. I think they got to make a stop. And that's where Riker tells, he says, Picard says, thanks for not trying to talk me out of this.
Right.
So they're not in the rush they seem to be.
Right. But
I honestly I don't think any less of 7 for killing the person who butchered.
I understand. No, here's the thing. I don't from an emotional standpoint.
Basically, she killed Space Hitler.
No, she did not kill Space Hitler.
She was doing things to Borg drones that we would associate with the worst people ever on Earth.
I understand that. And you know what? Here's the thing. I'm not saying that from an emotional place that it was unbelievable that 7 would do it. I'm just saying that if 7's arc, especially like at the end, I think 7's best moment was her little one-on-one with Picard just before she beamed down. When they were talking about, did you regain your humanity? And Picard said yes, and she said all of it, and he admitted no. That was a beautiful moment. Right, and then she goes from that to give me 2 guns and I'm blasting everybody. Woohoo! I'm a murder spree, and I'm like, no, that's wrong. And the whole thing. And I'm sorry, I know.
What are you pulling at there, Anti-Trigger?
What are you talking about?
I don't know. Your hands were just looked like you were doing double something.
Oh, geez, you are so bad.
I mean, granted, I'm 10 seconds behind in the video, but.
Are you not talking to me right now?
I am, but I'm
All
just
right,
saying. I see what I saw you do on screen. Jesus Christ! I don't know. I mean, I know they put Seven as possibly being gay in this episode,
Will you
but I
shut
didn't
up?
think it was
Doesn't-
contagious.
Anyway, but here's the thing. So when Seven is holding the two guns and blasting everybody, I'm sure somebody probably thought that was awesome. I thought that was stupid. All right.
Well, they needed that scene for the trailer, so.
But even in the trailer, from the first time we saw that, I was like, really? Okay, maybe I haven't said anything about it because I'm thinking, well, maybe in context it'll work. But it didn't. It just felt like it's stupid. She's holding two guns and blasting everybody in sight. And it didn't feel like she was... Like think of IG-11 from The Mandalorian. When IG-11 walks into a room and starts blowing everybody away, that was badass. When Seven did it, because of the fact that you could tell she could barely hold those guns as it was, it looked stupid. And so if she was moving around like mechanically like IG-11 and just pew, 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 that might have been badass, but the way they did it, it made it look like Jerry Ryan could barely lift a 3-pound prop gun and was just kind of firing at random around the room to kill everybody. And Mercer puts a couple of bucks, says, I like Picard admits that he never became fully human. Yeah, I love that. I thought that was a great moment. But
you seem pretty human in all good things. Just saying.
You seem pretty human in all good things.
You seem pretty human at the end of all good things, sitting down to play poker with the crew.
Right, but the point is that he admitted that the Borg thing will always haunt him, right? That he'll never fully recover from it. And I like that. That's better than all of the crap that we saw in Star Trek First Contact with Picard, where he just suddenly goes all Captain Ahab on everybody. Just that subtle moment of acknowledging that, no, it's something that's always there.
The line must be drawn here. This far.
That sounded almost like your Aussie voice.
Well, that was me not trying to yell because Mama Price's asleep.
Okay. But yeah, but Seven just shooting up the bar, and because after she murders the chick that I understand you feel was justified, but they still should have taken her prisoner. Then she goes on a murder spree.
What are you going to do if you take this woman prisoner? What are you going to do? You're going to put her in a Federation colony? Rehabilitation colony?
If you're going to have Seven kill her...
Is that justified?
If you're
does that
Yes, that's justice. You put her through the criminal system.
Justice?
Justice is not personal
crime
vindication.
Did not take place in Federation space.
Well, then you take her to the Rangers.
So the Rangers will just execute her. Is
Fine,
that justice?
but at least, no, but you know what? If the governing body, because the Rangers are really the law enforcement of the area, right? The closest thing they have to any kind of law enforcement.
So basically, for all practical purposes, she's Judge Dredd. She is a Ranger. She has power of
They never
trial.
said that she had the authority to just kill people.
I'm sure they could have any authority they want. They're the Ferris Rangers.
Jarsa puts $5 in and says, I'm with Bird. Even Data was willing to commit murder to stop Kivas Fijo hurting anyone else. And that was in United Federation Planet Space. The greater good isn't always legal. But it's still... I still don't... I don't know. I don't like the idea that basically... we'll delude Picard into thinking there's still hope, but I'm going to go shoot up the place. And, I mean, they pretty much said that. Laquisha said, didn't get to watch it yet. How was the episode? The episode had really good moments and some really cringy moments.
Aberjam, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Aberjam says, Bird of Prey 5. Haven't seen the episode. Did they explain how Picard knows Anakin?
Yes. Yes. They know each other by reputation.
By reputation, yeah. They hadn't met before.
Yeah. They kidnap her. Why? What a waste of time. Puts more people in danger. She needed to die and stop what you... Fine, but here's what you do then. You beam her up to the ship, and this would have actually been a better moment, I think, for Seven. They beam the chick up with them onto the ship, and then Picard says, no, what are we going... And Seven just blows her away. And they say, okay, can we move on now? That would have been better. So rather than Seven and Picard having their sentimental moment together, and then she beams down to blow. I mean, did Picard not know where he was beaming her? It's like, oh, here, have 2 phaser rifles and let me beam you back to the bar. I'm sure everything will be just fine with the chick that you just tried to kill. Have a nice day.
That's why I don't understand the whole scene. And they should have just killed her while they were down there.
Or beam her up and then
time.
kill her. Because, like I said, if they are worried that if we kill her, there'll be a bounty on your heads. Okay, so beam her up with you and then kill her, and nobody will know. They'll just say, "Oh, I guess they're holding her hostage."
What about Rios not knowing who Seven was when Picard said her name? Yeah, that one was a little weird. That Rios didn't know it was 7 of 9 when he said 7 of 9.
Well, because maybe not everybody knows all the details on 7. In fact, because he knew her better as the Ranger who was aboard from the Delta Quadrant, right?
Yeah, and I was still debating when did she change her name back to 7 of 9? I guess when Ichib died.
Yeah. Bird was right last week about who Maddox was. What did you say about who Maddox was?
Oh, in the preview last week where we saw the guy who drank and
that you called that was Maddox, the guy that fell on the floor. Yeah, that's true. And so Man of Stan says good night, John Boy. Good night. Judge, jury, and executioner. 7 of 9 is the new dread. Yes, and 7 of 9 is now on planet Canto Bite, just blowing the hell out of people.
No, blowing the hell out of people. Alexander's going to get there real quick.
Oh, but don't make me laugh like that, man. That hurt.
You're the one who said it. I'm going to put that up. According to Editor, 7 of 9 is blowing the hell out of people on Canto Bite.
I can just see him posing 7 of 9 blowing the hell out of me is the best choice.
The new attraction at Quark's Bar.
And I actually have something here that Alexander would love. I know you'll see it in a few seconds on screen, Bird, but it's a comic book that shows a Romulan Asian Borg, and with big boobs there. And the reason I have this particular comic book, it's called Star Trek Operation Assimilation, Marvel Comics from 1997, is that recently on Orville Nation. Were you there when I was talking to Paul Jenkins?
I was there for part of it.
Okay, so Paul Jenkins, comic book writer and also the director of the Axanar shorts that are coming up. This is his first Marvel comic that he wrote.
Did he draw it?
I don't think he was an artist. I think he's a writer. But I haven't opened it up to read the credits on it yet or anything. But I saw it cheap online, and I figured, you know what? I'll check it out. I want to see if he's a decent writer. Plus, the concept that he talked about with this comic was interesting. So I want to check that out. But anyway, that would definitely, I think, if you put her in a room with 7 of 9, then Alexander would just explode. So, yeah, I think Alexander would just instantly.
So Thomas says, anti-trekker, thank God Maddox wasn't transgendered like the rumors.
Yeah, I'm kind of.
That was not the rumor I heard.
That Maddox was trans. I heard that one.
I heard someone else was transgendered.
Who? The doctor chick?
Yeah, Girardi.
Yeah, but I'll give you this. You predicted that she was going to do something bad. She did something bad, but
I mean, that was hardly a hard prediction to make.
Well, I didn't think so. Granted,
and you honestly thought that she was all that? She was clearly laying into Picard from the beginning.
I still don't think that she's this evil, deceptive person. I think that she did.
I'm not saying she's evil. She thinks she's doing the right thing.
But I don't think that she's like the covert ops or anything like that. I think that she killed Maddox because she felt like she had to, because he had the ability to do something that scared her.
Well, yeah, she said, I wish they hadn't shown me. So I think Commodore O or somebody, showed her something that scared the shit out of her.
Right.
And that's what made her, head to Picard. And
right, because if Maddox was able to continue with the quantum cloning,
and then the destroyer would
neurotic thing, then that would be the end.
Gozer has taken the form of the destroyer.
Yes. Which also, what I think was also a big plus for this episode, what elevates it a little bit, there was not a single scene with Soji.
On the board. Yeah, the Borg cube not being was the best thing.
Yeah. And I think that's why it felt a little more like Star Trek to me.
And then, unfortunately, it looks like following weeks it's only going to...
Well, yeah. Well, because they're heading to the cube.
Yeah, they're heading to the cube.
But hopefully the cube stuff will get better with Picard on it. You know.
How long can Picard be on that cube undetected?
Well, did you notice though in the trailer for next week there was a very brief shot of Locutus?
Oh, I didn't see that.
Yes. And
That's
so
probably another dream.
Yeah. So Locutus says, so what was your rating? I'm really struggling with a rating on this one. I don't know yet. It's going to be somewhere between a 5 and a 7. Because
I was about to say I'm looking at like a 6.
Yeah. I don't know for sure, because here's the thing. The bad stuff was really cringy. Like the overt gore at the beginning was a big downer to me. Rafi and her son's scene was so disjointed. Had they just picked a route for her, being either a mom who lost her family because of drug addiction or a mom who was a 9/11 truther and abandoned her family, I think the drug addiction would have been more compelling. But I think maybe they tried to avoid that a little bit because, stereotype black drug addict, right?
Van Zavan and Bradley are saying they're giving this episode a 7 of 9.
Ha ha ha! Yeah, stupid. But the Picard 7 and 9 stuff was really good. The Rios really shined in this episode. I genuinely liked Rios a lot in this episode. He's a character that if I would like to see captain a starship.
Maybe you'll become captain of the Enterprise by the time the show's over.
Auntie's shaking a little bit. Must be having a dream.
Aw, yeah. Auntie.
I don't know if you can see it on this.
I see her. Yeah, her legs are moving. She's running in her dream.
Yeah.
She's running to food. That's what all beagles run to.
That's all. Yeah, I tell you, beagles they are little eating machines, aren't they? We have to keep Puka's food separate so that she can't get to it because she just eat it all. She'll eat the cat's food, so we have to keep all the animals.
Yeah,
foods.
beagles will eat anything.
Yeah. But
even moderately ingestible.
She's running to the beagle bite, says DJ.
She could be.
I would think she's running from the beagle bite company.
She's running from Darth Revan.
Yes, he's right. Come on, little girl. It will only hurt for a moment now. That's what's coming.
Dan23 makes a good point. In TNG Conspiracy, they did blow that guy's head off. Now, Granted, the CGI was horrible.
Well, it wasn't CGI. It was actually a practical effect.
Whatever you want to call it. It was horrible.
Yeah, it looks stupid.
Yeah.
And maybe it was CGI. Maybe.
I don't think they ever went back. They never did anything like that again. Either.
And in fact, I remember when I saw that the first time, I was saying I was a kid, but I really wasn't. I was 18.
30.
Huh?
You were 30?
No, I was like 18 when that one came out. Maybe, let me see, it was 87. So I was like 17 when that one came out. Anyway, but I remember that episode is the one and only episode of TNG where before the episode started had a parental warning on it.
This episode it was rated TVMA. Well, I don't know if any of the other episodes had an actual rating.
Did it? I didn't see it. I
noticed it when I was watching it on my Amazon Fire TV. Mm-hmm. It actually had a TVMA rating for gore or something.
Well, the eyeball scene was
yeah.
But you see, why wouldn't all the others have the TVMA for the language and stuff?
That's what I'm saying. I don't know if I just noticed it for the first time, or this was the first time they put in a TVMA rating, because they don't need a rating. It's not on television.
Right. Now, I'm trying to remember, because I was, unfortunately, at the moment that it happened, I was pouring a cup of coffee, so I might have been distracted, but did Rafi's son drop the F-bomb?
If he did, I didn't notice it.
Okay,
I didn't think he did.
At first, I thought, because I didn't quite catch the line, it was because I was turned my head away from the screen for a minute to get my coffee, and it sounded like he said, "What the F are you doing here?"
Oh, honestly, maybe I've become desensitized. I didn't notice it if he said it.
Right. I know that someone said, I can't remember if it was BS or just S.
Yeah, there were a few. I mean, but listen, they were in where they were and what was going on.
Oh, so now you're okay with the language?
No, I'm not okay, but there was nobody here that, you see, I'm okay with the language in this episode, more okay, because I didn't expect anyone there to be, Starfleet professional
Right.
or even Federation higher-ups. This was a non-Federation planet of basically free,
In universe, if cussing is still a thing in the 24th century, yeah, I would expect to see it more on Canto Bight than, anywhere else. But I still don't like it as a show thing because Star Trek is supposed to be family friendly. And
I grant you that.
Yeah.
But
and I understand we're past the days of family friendly Star Trek. That those days ended with Discovery.
Well, I mean this series isn't family friendly, so at this point, whether they stopped cursing at this point, you still can't let a kid watch Picard.
Right.
I was like, oh yeah, start with episode 5.
Well, you could edit out, I think, a lot of, like, for example, and I know Mr. Miles could do this. It wouldn't be that hard, like with the Admiral scene. You cut away from her face for a second to Picard's face when she's talking and just change it to where she says sheer hubris. That wouldn't be hard to do. And Auntie moved amazingly.
So Dream out there says anti-tracker, bird of prey, good bit of continuity. They were looking for Ichib's cortical node and they couldn't find it, so they remembered that he gave it up to 7. That's right, I remember that.
I forgot about
Voyager
that.
episode.
I was wondering why they were
looking
in
there somewhere.
Yeah, I was wondering why they were looking so hard for the cortical node. I forgot about that. Very good call out.
Maybe he should have said, "Hey, I don't have a cortical node."
Well,
maybe they would have stopped trying to pull pieces off of him to find it.
But then 7 wouldn't have had motivation.
Maybe he forgot. Maybe he forgot that he gave it to 7.
And yes, I noticed that too, Thomas, that IMDb listed someone as Starfleet captain, but I did not see a Starfleet captain. Maybe there was a Starfleet captain somewhere in there, but I don't know. Did you see anything?
Not that I could notice, no.
Dale said, somebody said this sucks. Picard said, I can give you lift. Lift means something else in Star Trek in the UK. Can you imagine Kirk or Spock saying groovy and far out and heavy, man? Yeah, well, actually, the funny thing is, Dale, the space hippies did talk like that, but Kirk never did. And that's where you could kind of establish this like Starfleet etiquette versus civilian etiquette. Because in the original series, you remember the space hippies, right? The stupid space hippies.
Way to Eden.
Yeah.
Journey to Eden.
Yeah. They were talking like hippies of the day. Hey,
Herbert,
man.
Herbert.
Yeah.
Herbert.
Yeah. They invented a couple of things like Herbert, but the whole thing was, yeah, man, it's all cool, it's groovy. Let's sing some hippie music with my bicycle wheel for some reason. And that was, that was, but Kirk and Spock and the rest of the crew would still talk professionally.
Ichib was in a Starfleet uniform, yes, David.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting. Ichib was Starfleet, but maybe that was the role of Starfleet captain, was Ichib.
Captain Ichib? Could be, I guess.
It'd be long enough. And it said 20 plus years, right? Since Voyager came home. So, I mean, assuming Ichib wanted to be in Starfleet, after 20 years, he could command his own ship.
Yeah, that very well could be.
Yeah.
I wonder if he was the actor's name.
The musical bicycle wheel. Yeah, that thing was so stupid. Sorry. You remember that stupid bicycle wheel?
I remember.
Yeah. And Thomas says, no, different actor. Okay. Well, I don't know. But whoever the Starfleet captain is, we will, I guess, never know. Because maybe it was something that was a deleted scene or something. Because sometimes, the actor still gets credit even if they're in a deleted scene.
I took the bicycle wheel to be some type of harp.
Yeah, well, no, actually, Spock played the harp. Hers sounded more like a guitar, if I remember correctly.
Oh, okay. Maybe I'm confusing it.
For all you riff on Picard, you sure sound like a peace-loving, there's always another way kind of thinking that made Picard Picard. Well, here's the thing. I do agree with the philosophy that that Picard would espouse that violence should always be a last resort, that you should never commit murder, that the ends don't justify the means, crap like that. On that, I do agree with Picard. However, when Picard starts bloviating about the evils of religion or the superiority of Starfleet, and basically preaching the Federation gospel, I want to punch him in the face. He's condescending, he's arrogant, and he also is he's worse than me. He's more of a know-it-all than me, which is pretty bad.
Ryan says, wasn't that Ichib scene supposed to be 13 years ago? And yes, it was.
That's true. That's true. It still would have been a good 10 years since Voyager. It's amazing that it appears from all these flashbacks that everybody just aged a whole lot between 20 years ago and 15 years ago, and then they stopped aging.
Nitpicking here. You're nitpicking.
I know. I understand the actors are older and all that, but the flash, when they keep doing these flashbacks of 15, 20 years ago, it's like, you know what? Either de-age them digitally or don't show them, because I'm sorry, I don't buy that was 7 of 9 from 15 years ago. I buy it was 7 of 9 from 15 minutes ago.
Being a kid who watched The Next Generation, I mean, it came out in what, 88? Mm-hmm. So I was 10 years old when it came out. What I thought Picard was so old.
But he was only like in his 40s.
I know, but I thought Picard was the old man he actually is today.
Right.
When I was seeing him at age 10 in the episode, in the series. So to me, Picard hasn't aged in 40 years. 30 years.
No, Thomas, I'm not going to get a PhD in aging because I'm not going to go to the mat with that one. I'm just saying that to me, that didn't work. Boy, I love the fact that everybody thinks that they know more about cosmology than Dr. Alex, but that's a whole other
Well, we got Google, so you know everything.
Yeah, the stupid thing is on some of those Twitter things, people say, I'd say, you know what, when you have a PhD, come talk to me, because that's what I brought on my video, and they're like, I don't need a PhD, I have Google. I'm like, oh my God, you really said that? You really just said that? Okay. I think Riker's more smug and arrogant than Picard. I think that Riker was smug and arrogant, but I think that he got some of that from Picard. If you look at Riker and Picard's relationship over the years, by the end of TNG, Riker was basically Picard light.
Yes, Christian, the newest episode is out.
Yeah. And so what I've been doing, and I apologize, I was actually an hour late this time around, but I've been getting up when the episode is first released and then watching it and immediately doing a live stream, and Bird has been nice enough to join me. And so just kind of going through our first reactions. So overall, somewhere between a 5 and a 7 out of 10. You said about a 6 for you, right?
Yeah, which would be my lowest.
Mm-hmm. See, I don't want to say it's the worst, though. That's the thing. Like, the lowest I've given so far is a 6 for episode 2, and I think that's it. So I gave episode 1 a 7, episode 2 a 6, episode 3 a 6.5, and episode 4 I think I gave a 7. So this one, I don't know, maybe 6.5. I don't think it's the worst, but it's definitely not the best. But
Which one would you think is worse? Which one would you think is worse?
I think episode 2 was the weakest episode so far. But I think that I think that episode 4 is still my favorite, last week's. Part of it, yes, I was fanboying out over the Bird of Prey, but I did not you.
Mr. Miles says, well, I'm going to go. Here's hoping I don't get blown off for a third time after the stream. If you actually remember to message me after the stream, I'll be waiting to hear from you, Anti-Trekker.
That's because Miles and I were talking on Skype a little bit, and he hasn't.
Okay.
And so, yeah, he's being a dick because he's Miles. Tentacle says, this is a 4. This one is a 4, max 5. Of course you're saying that. Of course you're saying that.
So they're asking, do we think if 7 is dead?
No, because she just killed everybody. And, you know,
2 phasers, she could clearly shoot her way out of any situation.
right, because she's 7 of 9. You know, keep in mind that 7 of 9 is used to being a hero character in Star Trek, which means you're invincible.
Dreams thinks that 7 is going to be in 4 more episodes. I really doubt that, Dreamers.
Where are you going, Auntie?
I think we've seen the last of 7 and 9.
Yeah, I do too. Auntie. What are you doing? Auntie.
DJ says she's listed for 6 episodes.
Is she?
In what, IMDb? That doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, see, Auntie. Yeah, I got a treat here for you if you come back. There you go.
While I appreciate IMDb is usually right, they're not always right. And I think if anybody can enter information to IMDb, it's almost like a wiki.
Yeah,
And Tentacle says 7 straight up murdered Ichib.
Well, the Ichib thing, I could see that being called a mercy killing, even though I didn't like it. I found it distasteful. I still think that she should have tried to help him. You know, if somebody purposefully kills another person like that, I generally don't like it unless there's some really compelling reason. And nothing about Ichib's injuries seemed to be fatal.
Oh, that's right. She did give Picard the coin to call her.
Yeah.
When needed, so maybe she'll come back for the last episode or something.
Jedi Wanderers here says, just going to say, hey, Star Trek and Picard, always the captain we need, but off to bed. Hope you have a great night, Westwell. Thank you, Jedi. Wish I got more than 3 hours sleep, but I didn't, and now I got to do a review, and so does Bird. Bird's review, of course, will be talking forever about 7 doing, you know, blowing people, I guess.
That'll be my review of this stream. We'll be talking about that. That wasn't in the series.
Oh, okay. Robert thinks she'll be in the cube. I think what could be interesting, especially after that little trade between 7 and Picard about lost humanity, would be if, let's say that the systems on the cube try somehow get their hands on Picard and start turning him into Locutus, which is why we see Locutus in the scenes. So Picard actually does get re-Borgified. And then 7 would be the only person that could reach him. Because she understands what it is to be a Borg.
Nitpicking nerds is replacing an actor damages continuity.
You know
to
what?
be honest,
sometimes you got to do that.
In this case, Ichib I could barely tell, and Maddox, it's been so long, I could barely care.
Yeah, I you know what? I think that this is one of those few things that I actually wholeheartedly agree with John Campia on, is that the part is bigger than the actor. And so if the person that's playing whatever role doesn't want to do it or is unavailable, then you recast.
Gopher's right. He's a you would get in contact
Hugh,
with
that's
Picard.
true. Hugh could try, but maybe Hugh will be like, I can't do it alone. I need 7. Dun, dun, dun. You know. I suppose the biggest question that I have is, has anything actually been achieved? We're halfway through the season already. Well, Spartan.
Found Maddox.
Huh? Well, not just that, but here's the thing. People, that's the wrong attitude about a serialized show. You don't achieve anything until, I mean, like, if you were to watch, say, any good movie, and you stop halfway through and say, did they really achieve anything? Well, of course not. They're only halfway through it. You know, maybe they you know, if anything, I mean, they know where they're trying to go. They know they have to go to the Borg cube. They managed, like you said, they managed to get Maddox, but that was a hollow victory. You know, there are, yeah, they've done things, but have they achieved anything? Well, of course not.
Well, they did achieve. They found out where Soji was.
Well, that's true. But you know what I'm saying.
That was an achievement, because they had no idea where she was.
But I think what people are talking about there is the idea that, oh, we haven't seen them really win anything. Right? But that's because it's just a singular story. They don't win until episode 10.
I'd argue 7 won.
Oh. I would argue that 7 was a murderer. I think that I will put that as a loss. Unfortunately. What are you even doing, Auntie? You just burying stuff to bury it? Silly dog.
Sassy buries things in blankets.
Yeah, that's what Auntie's trying. What she does, like I'm sure you can see her right now, but she's basically nudging around and pushing like her bones and stuff into the folds of her bed.
Yeah, they like to hide them.
Yeah.
In case anybody tries to steal them later.
Yeah. And so, but yeah, that's what she does. Has there been any actual Trek dialogue yet? I know there are Trek elements that pose potentially important questions about human condition, but the characters never discuss them.
I would say Rios's dialogue talking to Seven.
Yeah, well, and Picard talking to Seven. That whole thing about "Are you truly human again?" I think that was very Trek. But yeah, I think that there was some good Trek dialogue in this. Unfortunately, there was still, stupid cursing for cursing's sake and stuff like that. But the dialogue was better in this episode despite the cursing. Who's texting you?
It's a good question.
Maybe
it's Nerdrotic. I'm going to leave the stream real quick.
Oh, well, if Nerdrotic's calling you, I see.
No, it's not. It's just people posting on my Facebook, apparently.
Oh, okay. Wow. Dude, what's going on? Did you
I posted something about Trump yesterday.
Oh, God, you and your Trump thing. Oh, and the EMH. Let's talk about the EMH for a second.
Oh, yeah. He's going to have to be reset.
Well, not just that, but I did not like him. First of all, why did he said twice, and this happened.
What's the nature of the psychiatric emergency?
But it's more than that, right? So he comes in and goes, what is the nature of the psychiatric emergency? And then he immediately starts talking about her medical condition, right? Oh, I see that you have elevated blah, blah, blah. This is blah, blah, blah. And this is blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, wait a minute. You know the nature of the emergency. Why are you asking?
Well, he doesn't know what he only knows the symptoms or the... Right. The whatevers, the numbers. He doesn't know what's going on. She could be having a seizure. She could be having a flashback.
But he would be able to tell that instantly.
Be angry.
And nobody activated him. That's the other thing is that,
he turns on when somebody gets sick.
Yeah, but that doesn't. The doctor in Voyager didn't do that.
So it's 20 years later. Now they've got better tech. Why? What if you can't say computer turn on EMH?
Okay, that's fine. But okay, so then you have the other scene, which I think is even worse, where she's straight up murdering Maddox, and he pops in. What is the nature of the psychological emergency? And she's like crying and everything. And then he looks at Maddox dying on the table. What is the nature of the medical emergency? What are you saying? That doesn't make any sense. You've already activated. We got you giving your greeting. And now there's a guy dying in front of you and you don't do anything. And, of course, she says deactivate, which I'm fine with. She's going to have to delete it. But, yeah. Let's see. Rambling says, I think this show is surpassing my expectations and I'm really enjoying it. I am too, honestly. I mean, I know I'm going to nitpick the crap out of it, but that's just me. But I am enjoying it quite a bit.
I think it's one of the benefits I had of having low expectations.
Well,
they didn't have to do a lot to surpass them, which I'm happy.
Dan says, I added 2 trailers for Picard Episode 6 to my Star Trek playlist. Well, like the trailer stuff, I mean, the one thing that I got out of the trailer was that it looked like, I don't know if the Locutus thing was a flashback or whatever, but although if it is, they better de-age him because, ancient Locutus is not going to look right in a flashback. She shouldn't have had the clearance to dismiss him as a clear emergency like that. I agree, but what is the nature of your Kurogan emergency? I crashed the damn ship again.
Son of a bitch.
Right, says he didn't auto-activate when Maddox beamed up. That's true. Why didn't he auto-activate the minute they beamed up?
I'm guessing that the crew, they went through some type of, certification or whatever, so that their life records, their life signs are on record with the ship.
Yeah, but if someone beams on that's critically injured, I mean, and that's the other thing. Why did they have to drag him to sickbay? Why didn't they just beam him to sickbay?
Is there a sickbay?
Yeah, Picard said, get him to sickbay.
Probably just holodeck sickbay.
Yeah. Tentacle says the EMH turns on for the crazy woman, but not the man dying on the bed. Yeah, I know. See, the EMH was...
That's right. They had an EMH. Why wasn't he doing what Girardi was doing?
Yeah.
And she's not a medical doctor.
Well, she's a doctorate, so it's the same. Like, here's the thing: what you don't realize, like, say you're injured and dying and everything. Dr. Alex, being a PhD in cosmology, could clearly treat you better than I could.
I mean, I thought when they brought Maddox on, I thought we were going to see the EMH. I was like, oh, good, the EMH is actually going to have something to do. And instead, they got Girardi treating him. I'm like, what?
Some holograms could turn themselves on, like Vic Fontaine. Also, the opening the EMH is kind of just a hard-coded opener, despite the actual situation. Yeah, but here's the thing. I understand that that's what the EMHs are designed to do. It's the first thing they always say is, please state the nature of the medical emergency, or in this case, psychological, which is kind of, why don't they have an EPH?
Right. At first I thought he was a different hologram,
right.
But no.
But it's not that really bugged me. What really bugged me was the fact that he said, please state the nature of the psychological emergency, and then looks at the guy dying on the bed and says, please state the nature of the medical emergency. That made no sense.
That would have been cool if the psychological hologram had like a German Freud accent.
Please state the nature! Ensign Ricky says they did explain that it wasn't Picard that chose the Chateau program. Fair enough. And yes, Canuck was right about that, so I will give him that.
But she said, but you kept it.
Huh? Yeah, and I like that line from 7, by the way. Which, by the way, you want to talk about arrogant, sexist type writing? People that are stuck in the past and don't understand it? Why was Picard shocked that 7 wanted bourbon?
I think he was shocked that she drank it so quickly.
Why? 7 is a tough
she's
badass.
a lady. Ladies aren't supposed to drink like that.
Exactly. Sexism. Right freaking there. Right? But it's not coming from the evil Trump supporters. It's coming from Picard. And the writers of the show that are like, ooh, look how edgy it is that a woman drinks bourbon. That was the whole thing about Star Trek, the original series, that made it so damn progressive, is that they didn't say, hey, everybody, look, Uhura's black and she's an officer, right? Nobody said, hey, everybody, Sulu is Asian and yet we let him drive. They didn't do that. They didn't point out this stuff, but they actually go out of their way to show you, oh, look, 7 is a girl, but she drinks bourbon. Why? Why is that a big deal? It should just be, Picard says, would you like something? And she says, bourbon, and he goes, okay. Assuming she's a bourbon drinker.
I did get a little tired at this episode. Now, a lot of people have complained about this. I honestly don't think I have yet, but this is the episode where I'm going to start complaining. Yet another main person in charge is a woman. I mean,
it does seem they're going a little heavy-handed with the women.
They did. I think. Now, granted, I would say on this particular case, there was probably no great way to go around it, because if they made it a guy, I would say, oh, sure, make the guy the evil villain who's pulling people's bodies apart. But it was like, oh, another woman in charge.
Right. Yeah, it does seem like for some reason the universe is just completely controlled by women in the future.
And they're horrible. Yeah. They're terrible people.
It's like, okay, are the writers trying to be progressive feminists by putting women everywhere? Or do they hate women because they make all the evil psychopaths women? I mean, it's like the two most balanced characters in this show are Rios and Picard.
You got a $10 Canadian super chat.
And Desmond puts in $10. Thank you so much. Says Lore built Allison Pill's character. She's an android, and there's another, or Maddox built her. Lore corrupted her system. Season end cliffhanger. This dark season is going that way. Desolate Trek.
If Maddox could build Girardi, then why did he need to build Soji and
Dodge?
And Dodge, yeah. I mean, because
where's Girardi's twin, since they're always made in pairs? But that wouldn't even make sense. Like, if Girardi, why would she murder him? Just because if she was so you're saying Lore corrupted her, but we don't even know if Lore.
Oh, that's right. He did say. Before he died, he said that Girardi's contribution was enormous, or he couldn't have done it without Girardi's contribution. We don't know what she contributed.
Right.
So maybe she was the one who contributed what he thought was Data's positrons, and it was Lore's.
And she's the only one that knows.
Maybe.
Okay, I can kind of see that. But I don't think that, and I understand if you think it's dark and you don't and you say desolate Trek, I assume that you're trying to say that's a bad thing, but then I'm assuming you don't like Deep Space Nine. Because I'm sorry, there's nothing in this that is any darker than Deep Space Nine. The language is a little more graphic, the visuals are a little more updated, but it's definitely not any darker than Deep Space Nine.
They were not pulling people's eyeballs out in Deep Space Nine.
That's not a level of darkness, that's a level of graphic. This show's more graphic, but dark is like, remember, the Federation was on the verge of total destruction in Deep Space Nine. Orville Nation puts $5 in. Thank you, my good friend, and says, deeply disappointed on the treatment of Manu. Who?
The guy who played Maddox.
Oh, okay. And the reckless killing of the character Ichib, unless there's an insane plot twist coming.
No, I'm sorry. Manu is Ichib.
Okay, yeah. Well, that's the thing, Orville, because that wasn't the original actor. So I don't know what happened, but I know you've been talking to the guys, but I also know that there's certain things we can't talk about with that. But yeah, I don't understand that. He definitely should have been in it. But yeah, maybe Girardi contributed B4's thing, not Lore's. Says Mercer.
I just assumed that the original actor didn't want to be in it for some reason. I would imagine they approached him. Maybe he had a conflict. Maybe he just doesn't want to put on board makeup. I don't know.
Right, and Melface Sky says, "In the pale moonlight was dark." The pale moonlight was darker than anything we've seen on Picard.
I will grant you that.
All right.
Yeah.
And keep in mind when we and this is something that's commonly it's a common misconception in the terminology, right? There's dark, and then there's graphically violent, right? Graphic violence can be not dark. So, for example, if you have a movie, and there are movies like this where people are like, think Kill Bill, like people chopping.
I was exactly going to say Kill Bill.
Yeah, people chopping people to pieces, blood flying everywhere, but it's all done in a lighthearted, fun kind of environment. That's not a dark movie. It's just a graphic movie. But then you look at something like In the Pale Moonlight. There's no blood and guts in the Pale Moonlight, but holy crap, is that dark.
But I gotta say, Mercy killing someone she considered to be her son, literally in pools of her
pretty dark.
blood. That was pretty dark.
Yeah, I'm not saying this was definitely the darkest episode of Picard thus far, but I don't think that Picard has gone to Deep Space Nine depths. Right, Ronald D. Moore writing depths. And by the way, here's a great quote from Ronald D. Moore talking about writing dark fiction and particularly sci-fi. And this was his attitude both on Deep Space Nine and Battlestar Galactica. He said, as soon as the producers say it's too dark in here, turn off the lights.
Mercer Create put in a $2 super chat.
Yes, I read that.
Oh, you did? I missed it.
Did you fall asleep?
Might have.
Yeah, he's saying that maybe Girardi put in B4's positrons rather than Lore's. Which
possible.
I don't buy that though, because everybody says how B4 was an inferior.
Feels like Kirk's son cheating with proto matter.
Yeah. DS9 had a lot of fun episodes too for levity, like the ones focusing on Quark and the Ferengi. Yeah, but here's the thing: having light moments in a dark story doesn't make the story not dark.
You know, this is interesting because right before Picard started, I was working on a video. I was 90% done with the script, and I just kind of put it in my back burner. I didn't know if I'd ever get back to it. Where I was challenging if Deep Space Nine was dark Trek.
I think Deep Space Nine is very dark, and I don't think
I gotta say, my video says otherwise.
Well, that's because you're an idiot. But here's the thing. I think that darkness has an underlying Trek optimism because of Starfleet. That's the one thing that this is kind of an interesting thing too about Trek, is that Trek has set, we've had, if you look at Trek that follows the formula, is TOS, TNG, Voyager, and Enterprise. Right? Those shows are on a starship, captain, crew, doing whatever they do, and all that. But then you have Deep Space Nine and Picard that aren't following the formula, but they have some striking similarities between each other. Then you have Discovery, which is like bleak Trek. I mean, but the thing about Discovery is it's not whether the story arc is dark that makes it bleak. It's the fact that everybody is hopeless in that show. That Michael Burnham has got to save the world over and over and over because the entire universe is incompetent. In Picard, I don't get, granted, we don't know how high the conspiracy goes, but
it goes to the very top.
You think that the sheer effing hubris, she's part of it?
I think we're going to see the Federation president. He's going to be an orange alien, and he's going to go right to the top.
It's huge. And so let's see.
It's going to be a Drumpfian or something.
I thought all the alcohol was made for taste, not to get you drunk. Like when Guinan got the good stuff for Scotty, he could actually get drunk. No, alcohol hasn't changed. Synthahol is you're confusing alcohol and synthahol.
But the entire bar is a hologram. So it would be replicated. So it would be synthahol.
Not necessarily. You can replicate alcohol.
Yeah, I guess.
But the difference between, my understanding is the difference between synthahol and alcohol is not the physical effect. It's that if you have synthahol in you and you leave the bar, you're sober.
No, that can't be.
That's my understanding. Synthahol, the effects of it basically are proximity based, and so
proximity based. That doesn't make any sense.
Sure does if it's a holographic system that can and it deletes it from you when you leave.
But they drink synthahol in 10 forward.
Yeah.
There's no holograms in 10 forward.
I don't get it, man. It's space magic, okay?
No, synthahol is just short lasting alcohol without the what's that headache you get, the hangover. The synthahol just leaves your system like maybe 15 minutes after you're done drinking. So you can go back to duty.
Let's see. Synthahol, memory alpha. Let's see what they say. Synthahol was a chemical variant of alcohol. It appeared to have the same taste and smell as real alcohol to most individuals, but none of the deleterious effects associated with alcohol in most humans, such as debilitating intoxication, addiction, and alcohol poisoning. Most humans have an enzyme which broke down the alcohol-like compounds in synthahol. According to data, synthahol's intoxicating effects can be easily dismissed. According to Gene Roddenberry, synthahol was invented by the Ferengi.
What?
Yeah. It says Gene Roddenberry decides synthahol was invented by the Ferengi in a magazine called the Star Trek Communicator. Synthahol is a regular ingredient in drinks served in Starfleet vessels and starbases. Some bartenders like Guinan and Quark, however, kept a supply of genuine alcohol for customers requesting it, which they cite relics for that, of course.
Hello,
and looks like somebody put a super chat in. Let me get back to the chat screen.
Desmond Toboris.
Yeah, you go ahead and keep pronouncing. You know what, Bird?
You can take a shot at that.
Everybody put in a super chat with words for Bird of Prey to pronounce. But Desmond, thank you, puts in $2 Canadian with no comment. But then says Enterprise was bleak Trek oppression by the Vulcans. What do you think about that? Do you think Enterprise was bleak?
I would say there was oppression by the Vulcans in the beginning for sure. I don't say it was bleak. I would say, well, season 3 was bleak. Season 3 was bleak. Right. But other than that, seasons 1 and 2, I thought were, and I know this is unpopular, seasons 1 and 2 are my favorite. Because that was pure joy of exploration. Mm-hmm. That was old-time Star Trek back again.
Right. And Loquisha says, DS9 may have been a dark theme, but was also not, but not only was there Starfleet, but humanity still depicted as essentially good and hopeful. There was also episodes with Quark and the Ferengi for levity. Starfleet was not depicted as good and all that. In fact, an interesting thing about Deep Space Nine was actually the whole thing was to challenge Roddenberry's vision. Was that Starfleet...
How was Starfleet not good?
Well, it's because Starfleet basically suffers from the same form of goodness as I've accused Picard, is they are arrogant, and they look down upon people, and they basically are overconfident. And
They
that's,
didn't look overconfident when they were losing that war.
yeah, but that's why they started losing the war. Starfleet, and really Deep Space Nine shows Starfleet regaining itself. Now, and that's a good thing overall. The overall, and this is the thing, just because it's dark doesn't mean, and that's the difference between dark and bleak. Bleak, like when you see Discovery, feels hopeless, right? When you watch Discovery, you feel like everybody is doomed, everything is doomed.
Well, that's only because all hope rests in Michael Burnham.
Well, that's true. And now they're in the future, so the future is doomed, right? Everything on Discovery is bad. Everybody on Discovery, except for Michael Burnham, is bad, right? It's just depressing. When you look at Deep Space Nine, it had very dark story elements, but it's still a story arc where the good guys win in the end. You know, that's why, and you have to sink down to the fact that Deep Space Nine was taken over by the Dominion, that the Federation was losing the war, that everything was completely hopeless. And then they make their final valiant push and manage to get through. But
to win, they had to cheat.
Well, isn't that always the case for evil people like you?
Just saying, had to cheat a little bit.
Spartan says, I've always been torn about some Trek. I feel that Trek can still be realistic, but also maintain a faithful optimism. I think TOS, TNG, Enterprise, Voyager held to that, despite their flaws. Here's the thing. I think that TOS was it's the problem is, TOS was probably the most optimistic Trek.
Thank you, Orville Nation.
And yes, Orville Nation agrees with Bird about season 1 and 2 of Enterprise were I don't agree with, I don't think that they were great, but I think they were definitely, they felt they had that optimistic flair to it, where it's like, oh, let's go explore the galaxy kind of thing, even though the Vulcans were dicks.
Orville Nation, you might not have heard my theory on this, but I truly suspect Enterprise got doomed by 9/11. Because 9/11 happened 3 weeks before Enterprise premiered. And the day that happened, I mean, like everybody in the United States.
Are you sure about that?
I'm 100% sure. I've double, triple, quadruple checked. 3 weeks. Plus or minus a week.
Let me see.
Anyway,
I
you look it up.
I didn't think Enterprise was that late, but yeah, I guess, it premiered on the UPN on September 26, 2001. I didn't realize it was that late for some reason.
And right after 9/11, everybody in this country was like, "Nuke Kabul!" You know, we were going to war, except Bernie Sanders, I guess. Everyone else in this country was ready to fight, and nobody wanted to see Star Trek that had returned to peaceful exploration. They wanted war. They finally got their war in season 3. Right around the time, it was like everybody's like, okay, maybe it's time to stop fighting.
But you know what I wanted was, I think the Xindi arc was interesting enough, but they should have made it the Romulan arc.
Probably.
Yeah.
Probably, although you would have argued about that too, because...
Well, what if the Romulans had managed to do some kind of sneak attack and bombed,
Well, I would have been upset about that, because if the Romulans had done a sneak attack of Earth, then why didn't they say that in TOS? It was like, don't you remember what they did to us?
Well, they just said that there was a war.
Remember Florida?
But here's the thing: if I say, man, in World War II was this crazy time when all these nations, but I didn't mention Pearl Harbor, that doesn't mean Pearl Harbor didn't happen. And Yosef puts in €2, says Planet Vergessen means planet forgotten in Germany.
Oh, there we go.
So I did not know that.
Some useful.
In fact, you should read that super chat real quick.
Planet Vergessen means Planten.
Planten?
Planet Vergessen means planet forgotten in German.
Or Planget.
Let's say this. Planet Vergessen means a planet forgotten in Deutsch.
Is that your German?
Somebody asked if I had a German accent on your stream the other day. I was like, I don't know if I do.
All right,
what do Germans really sound like?
So from now on, you have to read one. You have to read all the super chats from now on, and you have to use a different accent for each one.
Okay.
There you go. You want to
German was used once.
Yeah, so we got German out of the way, and what?
Next will be Asian, I guess.
Oh.
Some type of Asian.
Oh, jeez.
Somebody
needs to super chat if you want to hear Bird speak Asian. Marlena's here, my favorite representative of the Mirror Universe. Hey, Marlena. And says she said, nice German accent, Bird.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Marlena.
What was that?
Oh, that's German.
That was German?
We're going to have some Wiener Schnitzel and some pretzels.
Yosa says, no, you do not have a German accent. Say something. Well, you should probably say something in German to really.
Ich ein Berliner? What's that mean? I heard Homer Simpson say it, so it can't be that bad.
You really don't know?
I've heard it said. Something about Berlin?
Yeah, I am a Berliner. That was Kennedy that said that in Berlin.
Oh, good.
Oh, there you go.
I thought it was the other guy.
Care for a Jelly Baby puts a line in for you to read in German.
Care for a Jelly Baby?
Yeah.
Where do
in
you
the
see
chat.
that? Oh. Das ist nicht gut Spiel.
There you
That's
go.
good speak. Thank you.
Yeah.
Danke.
Donkey?
Isn't donkey?
Yeah, you just,
Thank you in
know,
German?
When you said that, you sounded like Shrek talking to his little friend.
Donkey. Oh,
No,
donkey.
the way you said donkey.
Donkey.
Yeah.
I am a jelly donut? That's not what it says. Das nicht ein gut Spiel? That can't be I'm a jelly donut.
So no more super chats. Nobody wants to hear you speak with your Asian accent, I guess.
Okay, we can do some other accent. You know what? Specify in the super chat what accent.
Yeah, any accent you want in a super chat, Bird will do it.
If it doesn't fit, just put it right after the super chat.
Balance of Terror, Spock, by our standards today, with primitive atomic weapons and primitive space vessels. You see, that was a big problem I had with Enterprise as a whole, Dan. And that's like one of Enterprise's biggest continuity gaffes is that it takes place before the Romulan War. Because the ship itself is way too advanced to be what Spock described.
Spartan Jeremy is saying Nietzsche is not. That's not good speak? Son of a bitch. That is not good speak. I guess that's what it means. Thanks, Jelly Baby, for being honest. That's not good.
I think Bird's gonna cry now.
Das is that, East is, nicht is not, gut is good, and Spiel is speak.
Yeah. So that is not good speak.
And I never even went to school for German.
Me neither. I didn't know half of what you just said, but yeah. It's funny, you know, I try to do the Trek Yards thing, get people to super chat, and nobody super chats. I guess I shouldn't.
Yeah, they shouldn't. You shouldn't.
Yeah.
They don't super chat anti-trigger anymore.
Wow. You're kind of a dick.
No, you don't have to be sorry, Jelly Baby. I need to know the truth. I thought I was speaking fluent Deutsch.
How would you think you know what fluent means, right?
Yes.
Okay, then
means
you know you're
the
not
flu.
fluent in German.
Ich bin ein Berliner.
Icking?
Ich ein Berliner.
Balance of Terror Spock, which allowed no quarter, no captains, nor was there even ship-to-ship visual communication. Therefore, no human, Romulan, or ally has seen the other. Yes, and I know I've gotten, so many people trying to argue that line means that they just didn't communicate. They didn't say there was no such thing as ship-to-ship.
We just have to agree. That was a retcon.
Oh, it was a
whatever,
retcon, sure.
A break-in canon, whatever you want to call it. There is no way to
Oh wait, we got a super chat
to
for
make
you.
both sides agree.
Remember your Asian accent for this, so here we go. The Asian Bird says,
it's harder to say those words. Should bird of hedonism love to pick too.
What?
Should be bird of hedonism love to pick too.
That was your Asian accent?
I didn't say where in Asia, exactly.
You sound like you're just constipated.
North Asia.
That's Asian.
Siberia is in Asia.
Well, there you go, Desmond. Yeah, I love the hedonism bird picture. What do you think of that bird?
Yeah, that's probably some of your better work.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that.
I mean, it's not Joshua quality, but it's okay.
So I have super chatted. Speak Swedish, please, says Careful Jelly Bell. You ready for that?
Okay, let's see.
But
I gotta remember which is Swedish and which is Swish. I am the Swedish. I have super chatted. I speak Swedish. Please, for you. Thank you. There is nothing Swedish, by the way. I saw a commercial. Swedes invented nothing.
Think of the Swedish chef. Try to do it that way. Maybe that'll help you.
Kelp. kelp. Swedish. I am the Swedish chef. There is much.
See, that was better. That was a little better the way. I am the Swedish chef. Yeah.
I have super chatted. Speak Swedish, please. You will give me porg for my porridge.
Porg for my porridge?
Porg for my porridge, please.
Oh man, this is just like such a racist thing all of a sudden. Well, at least I'll say your Swedish is better than your Asian, because I still that Asian that sounded like that should be like some kind of alien race accent. Ship to ship visual communication wasn't even done in Balance of Terror until the Enterprise managed to see the view screen to see inside the ship. Yeah, that was the first time that there was ship to ship communications established between a Federation ship and a Romulan ship, but really it wasn't two-way communication until the end of the episode. In other words, the tech clearly existed, but they didn't use it as part of their stealth. How, that's the funny, here's the thing. And don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that you can't write it off as saying that they had the tech, they just didn't use it. But please stop saying it's clear, it's obvious, because it's not. If it was clear and obvious, people wouldn't be arguing about it.
It's obvious to me. It was just one of those things.
It was a
They wanted to
like
tell a good story with the Romulans and Enterprise, and there was no way to make that fit with the one episode from the TOS, so they ignored it.
Right. Well, but here's the problem is that they did the same thing with the TNG establishment of the first contact with humans and Klingons.
Right.
And so Enterprise that's the problem with prequels. Enterprise basically took two of the biggest pieces of historical canon and crapped all over them.
You could say crap. I would say that if the product was good, then it makes up for it. And I think Broken Bow was a good start to Enterprise.
I think Broken Bow was worth it, but I don't think that Minefield was.
Are you going to make okay? But are you going to deny us an entire series, or even a great episode of a series from what was a throwaway line on TNG?
It wasn't a throwaway line.
It was a throwaway line, but nobody gave a shit about what happened with First Contact.
If it was a throwaway line, you're talking about the TNG thing?
TNG line. Yeah, the TNG line.
No, I said I think that Broken Bow was worth it.
Okay. But you don't think...
But I don't think Minefield was.
Because Battle of Terror. Balance of Terror was your favorite episode.
There's that, but I also, when you were saying throwaway line, I was thinking about Spock purposely reading the history to everybody. That was not a throwaway line.
Okay, no, that wasn't a throwaway line. That was, how can we make it that Romulans and Vulcans use the same makeup?
All right, so Mercer puts in a $2 super chat, but he didn't specify an accent, so you can't do German or Asian, so what are you going to do?
Enterprise show didn't have Romulan visual communication.
What was...
Southern Turtistani.
Wait, you're trying to be a Southerner?
Southern Turtistani.
You hurt yourself, Bird?
Which is North Karogan.
Wait, what was that? I
have no idea.
So, because when you say Southern, I thought you meant like Southern American.
No, not like not like Trip.
Yeah.
Enterprise there show didn't have no Romulan there communication.
Now that sounds like Boomhauer.
No. Boomhauer has a little even harder accent to hear. Boomhauer's already been chased by them aliens. They be putting things up my rectum.
What?
The aliens, the probes hurt.
It's funny because Mrs. Anti-Checker, Mrs. Anti-Checker not a big fan of second generation Trek as a whole.
Yeah.
She loves TOS, not a big fan of second gen Trek. And she absolutely hated Discovery. She refused to watch it after the first episode. Which I don't blame her. That's clearly the worst of Trek is still Discovery. But the one character she liked on Enterprise was Trip. She said that he reminds her of a young George Bush. And in that, the fact that George Bush was such a likable guy.
George Bush Sr. or George Bush Jr.?
No, George Bush Jr. She didn't care for George H.W. Bush. But George W. Bush was a very likable dude.
I grant you, he was probably the president most people would have a beer with if Clinton was in jail.
Right. Clinton was the guy that you wouldn't
Clinton
mind
wasn't
partying with,
available.
but you don't want to get caught.
Right, you'd be caught on the island.
Yeah.
You wouldn't be able to get away.
And let's see. Zephyr Cochrane and TOS is not the same as First Contact says. That's true. I don't like that either. I didn't like the retcon to Zephyr Cochrane because there's a character they actually showed the character and he talked about his backstory in detail and then they completely crapped on it in First Contact. And Spartan says, your wife is a smart woman. I wish we had all been so smart. She is. Although, and she, of the second generation Trek, the one, she didn't care for TNG at all, except for a couple
Code of Honor?
No, don't. You try to get her to watch. I would love to do a live stream just getting her to watch Code of Honor and getting her reaction to it, because I don't know if she remembers that episode. And that would be, man, I got to talk to her about that. Would be such a great episode or a great live stream to just put it on a monitor where you guys can't see it, put a microphone in front of Mrs. Anti-Trekker and just let her watch Code of Honor.
What is this shit?
Yeah, I would, oh man.
What are they doing?
No, but she loves Best of Both Worlds and she loves Chain of Command. So those are her, that's the exception for her for Next Gen. She thinks those two episodes are incredible. Technically 4 episodes, but you know what I mean. But she thought Deep Space Nine was all right, but and then she hated Voyager and she liked Trip on Enterprise.
Most people don't like Trip. I'm surprised.
Yeah, no, that's the funny thing.
I like Trip, but a lot of people don't.
I did too, because Trip was Trip was the first chief engineer, and I'm not talking about Miles O'Brien, because I know Miles was like an operations guy, and he was like Miles O'Brien was a handyman, right? He was running around just trying to fix crap. But the chief engineer of a starship, Trip was the closest thing they had to it since Scotty, right? Because unlike everybody in between, it was mainly with Taurus and with Geordi, it wasn't like, oh no, things are broken, computer, fix it. Okay, Captain, everything's fine. I got so sick of that. Oh, we got another super chat, so you got to do a new accent. You got one in mind?
Wait, does my southern accent count? Because I didn't do that for a super chat.
No, that counts. You did it already.
Okay. This episode opens up the possible contact with the Cardassians, the Klingons, and the possible leftover Dominion in the area. That was pirate to Spanish.
That was pirate to Spanish?
I guess Spanish pirate. Yar.
Yar! Yeah, you see, here's the thing. If you're going to try to do pirate, try to think like Martok. Martok had a great piratey voice.
Hail to Karoga.
Except he wouldn't say that.
He said it.
No, he's...
Death to Karoga!
So, but anyway, so to what Desmond was saying, the episode also opens up possible contact with Cardassians, Klingons, and possible leftover Dominion in the area. You talking about this episode of Picard? Yeah, but we that's the thing. We didn't see really in this episode. There were like weirdos all over the place. But we didn't really see any familiar aliens.
Yeah, how can it be leftover Dominion? I mean,
Right. Like, you know what would have been cool is if that dude, the bouncer dude, the lizard guy, he should have been a freaking Jem'Hadar. That would have been kind of cool. You know,
that would have been interesting.
You know, to say that, oh, they came up with a
Opened
way
up
to
questions.
synthesize Ketracel White or something, and so now there's like rogue Jem'Hadar running around.
That would have been more interesting to see a familiar species.
Right. But that's something that I think that this goes back to the whole everybody wants to just do their own way of doing things instead of following the Trek formula. So we want to.
Is it just money? I mean, could you make up an alien? Do you not always get residuals? Should that alien ever be reused?
No, well, depends on the. I don't know. Like, if you do a Klingon, does that mean that the state of Gene Kuhn gets royalties? I don't think so. But if you know, because I would like to see, you know, because there are so many established races in Star Trek, we don't need to invent new ones every week.
Could have had a big Orion dude.
Yeah, it could have been an Orion. It could have been a Gorn. We haven't seen a Gorn.
Oh yeah.
You know,
It's Enterprise.
And so, yeah, could have been a Gorn. Could have been a Jem'Hadar. You know, there's a lot of established races that we haven't done.
Even a badass Cardassian.
Yeah. But instead we get, oh, look, it's the Thing from the Fantastic Four, except we spray painted him a different color. And say he's a lizard. So, yeah. And people talking about T'Pol, because why not? Cat Lady. Well, see, Cat Lady is a perfect example of what's wrong with this stuff, is that they put Cat Lady in Star Trek V when they should have made her an Orion slave girl. Right? That's... You know, that's the problem, is that they're purposely trying to avoid repeating stuff that
Orion slave girls don't have 3 boobs, anti-Trekker.
Your point?
Well, they wanted 3 boobs.
All right. Spartan Jeremy says, I'm torn regarding T'Pol and Enterprise. I kind of went overboard in the sexualization, but at the same time, I had the mindset, well, if I was Trip, I'd probably do the same. Mark says, or however you pronounce that species that the one cat lady was. Do you know how to say that one?
Cotillion.
Okay. Oh, we got a new super chat from T-Berg, so...
I saw the French, the feared Canto Knight parody, in your opinion. Canto Bite, I believe I meant.
What was that?
I thought I was going for French, but apparently I was going for some type of Irish. I don't know.
That's
Eastern
definitely not
European,
Irish.
maybe.
I don't know what that is, but it's
Estonian. I think it's Estonian.
Estonian?
I think maybe French. Oh yeah, it's French. It's all over the place.
So it says, was Free Cloud the feared Canto, I assume you mean Canto Bite parody in your opinion? No, actually, Free Cloud itself, while it looks kind of like Canto Bite.
This show only has 2 boobs.
Yeah, I know that. You say that like it's so depressing. So here's what it looked like on the ground there. And notice that Quark's bar is there. Mott's, Mott has apparently a hair emporium. Which is kind of cool. So this is the actual street level stuff, and I thought that the holographic ads, I was kind of like, really? You pull up to a planet and they can put holograms that can physically interact with you? Isn't that a little
poor Elnor didn't get one.
Yeah, poor.
He should have got one. Like
he should have just gotten
your virginity. Come here.
You know what he should have gotten, and I think would have been funny, is if you just had a very generic humanoid shape appear in front of him and just say, "Would you like a personality? Come to us. We'll give you a personality." You know. Cation.
Cation. That's what I said. Cotillion.
Yeah, Cotillion is not Cation.
It's like Haitian with a K. Cation.
But no, the thing about it was, while it looks superficially like the Vegas Strip or Canto Bite, it did not have that same vibe, and in fact, it was much, much better than that sequence from Last Jedi. I'm sure you would agree with me on that.
Oh, yeah. I mean, like I said, Canto Bight was an upscale place. This is not.
Well, not just that, but this was done better in that, like, Canto Bight, the whole purpose of it was just to show, so that Rose could show her righteous indignation about, horse races and slave children. And, Canto Bight, is that Kurogan?
Canto Bight's not Kurogan.
Are you sure?
I mean, I wouldn't mind having such a high-class establishment in Kuroga, but it just isn't.
Okay.
We'll take it over, maybe.
So Kuroga Bight is just basically an excuse for Rose to do her indignation. However, in this, it actually serves the story, and it feels a little more real. It's not like everybody is evil. There's the evil person in there, but most people are just there looking for a good time, like people that go to Vegas. So Care for a Jelly Baby puts another one, wants you to speak.
Cation.
Yes. You remember?
I don't know how Gations speak.
You're not that far off, really. You don't remember her from the original series? She would just basically say her line.
From the animated series,
Yeah.
and I didn't watch that episode.
She's in a bunch of episodes.
I didn't watch a bunch of episodes of the animated series.
So there you go. Thank you, Charlie baby. And Desmond puts in $5, says opens it up for Garrick Worf and mutated clone guy from Dominion. Gotta have more cowbell. Oh wait, you should be reading that. So I guess gotta have more. You gotta read this one as Christopher.
Ozzy O'Prey here.
Uh-oh.
Open it up for Garrick Worf and the mutated clone guy from the Dominion. Gotta have more cowbell and dingoes.
Cowbell and dingoes. But yeah, the thing is, I would love to see Garrick. I would love to see Worf. Mutated clone guy, if you're talking about Wayun.
So apparently Worf is supposed to be captain of the Enterprise, according to a book that's coming out, a Picard-related book.
Okay.
I know it's beta canon, but it's related directly to the Picard series, and it's called The Last Hope. And Worf became captain of the Enterprise.
Does it describe Worf's 4 nostrils and 2 dicks?
No.
Okay, just wondering. Carlos says, I think this episode was fantastic, hit me in the feels, and had a good story and action. You see, the thing is, the Icheb thing at the beginning did hit me in the feels. I think that the Picard 7 thing, when they were parting company, that hit me in the feels. I think the story was definitely cohesive, but it also had a couple of really cringy moments. And which drug it down a little bit for me. Yeah.
And I've been told by other people, yes, I know I need to watch Yesteryear. It is on my list.
You've never seen Yesteryear?
I haven't seen. I saw like 2 or 3 episodes of the animated series and stopped.
Oh man,
it seemed like it was childish.
No, it really isn't. The problem.
Oh my god, it looks like I'm pooping turds into your jar.
It does. Let me do that again. I didn't even think about that. So let's see here. Oh no, it didn't reset. So I guess
there's a hole. There's a hole. If you want to see me poop into the jar,
see if I can make it do it.
You gotta give a super chat.
Yeah. That is perfect. That was not intentional. So yeah, super chats are burned.
Yeah, there it is. Okay. It's a spray.
Well,
it's a bad day.
That's definitely a
Taco
bad day.
Bell.
That's what that's what Bird's bed looks like right now.
So Yesteryear, I know. Also, there's the one with Spock, I think, that I need to watch. There's a few.
That's Yesteryear.
You know, Anti-Trigger, you should do a video on essential animated series episodes, so I don't have to watch them all.
Or you could just watch them all.
Mark Hansen says it's one of the best episodes of all time.
Yeah.
And yes, Bart and Jeremy, I know it makes no sense, Worf being captain, but that's what I'm told. That's what
it doesn't make sense because here's the thing: Worf doesn't make sense at all as far as his later arc because, okay, so he was on Deep Space Nine, And then he ended up on the Defiant in First Contact, so he got on the Enterprise. But then he went back to Deep Space Nine, but then he was on the Enterprise, and then he was on Deep Space Nine, and then he was promoted to being ambassador to Kronos, but then he was on the Enterprise again.
Yeah, he was on the Enterprise in Nemesis, which was after Deep Space Nine.
Right. So he became an ambassador, and they said, you know what, screw being an ambassador. I want to be a tactical officer.
That made no sense.
Yeah.
The move to now, although I mean they needed him in the movie. I think they were tired of saying, "Oh, we keep finding Mr. Worf every time we need him."
Yeah.
So they're like, "Okay, we'll just put him on the ship. Nobody's going to care."
Right.
And truly, I guess they didn't. But
yeah. So that is hilarious about you pooping. I did not notice that. So I might have to keep that bird of prey picture there just so that whenever somebody super chats, it'll poop.
I think your screen's getting a little crowded.
Yeah, I know, that's probably, although, you know, Auntie has decided to wander off so I could kill the anti-cam, but you know, if I move over here, wrong way.
And plus, you're blocking Mr. Miles's beautiful view screen.
Well, that's because the green screen is crooked.
Oh.
And that's just because my back is out, so I'm not going to move it. Would you describe the episode as dystopian? A lot of reviewers seem very fixated. No, here's the thing. Everybody that starts calling, and I know a lot of people are calling Picard dystopian. Those people
don't know what dystopian means.
You know, dystopian is not about having a bunch of freaking, you know, it's not about having the Las Vegas Strip in space, which this episode has. That's not dystopian. Dystopian is specific fiction about an oppressive universe. Basically, people living in constant fear of the government, Big Brother, that kind of thing. And Picard is not dystopian. And if you do think Picard is dystopian, then you would have to think that, for example, the episode of TNG Conspiracy is dystopian. You know,
I might be convinced it was.
No, it was an attempt.
That some aliens could so easily infiltrate Starfleet to the highest levels.
Well, that just means that Starfleet has hubris and arrogance and is, you know, all that. But, and I wouldn't even say nihilistic. I think that that's, you know, I do think that I think that if you want to talk, well, not even dystopian, but nihilistic would be Discovery. Discovery is very nihilistic.
I will be back in 2 minutes.
So Bird is now releasing super chats, I think. So while Bird is releasing super chats, I'm going to grab a refill of my coffee. So we'll enjoy a little bit of Bird while we're waiting for Bird.
Oi, it's my Aussie accent. It's the dingoes. We have to worry about the dingoes and the roos. The dingoes and the roos, they fight. And the shrimp fall off the Barbie. And in Tasmania, they're all cousins. The cousins marrying each other. Tasmania is what you Americans would call Alabama or Mississippi, but that's our Tasmania. They're all effed up down there, and I can't believe Anti-Trekker left the stream when he could have kept talking for a minute. Then I could have talked while he got his coffee, and nobody would have to suffer through slowed down 25% speed Aussie O'Prey. No, it's not sped up. Turtistani lies. And you gotta super chat through all this for God knows what reason. Desmond Tobis. Desmond. Desmond decided to throw you $2 Canadian.
So let's make sure, since you weren't on the screen, we need to make you poop there. There it is. Yes. Yeah, you could at least get it all in the jar, man. You have bad aim.
It's a small jar opening lid.
No, it's not that jar.
Put a bigger jar lid and it'll catch more. So use a bowl.
Is that what you do? Use a bowl?
Don't need to discuss what I do.
Okay. So are you going to read Desmond's in a new accent there?
Yeah, I am.
All
right. So many accents. Boy, I want the wolf to be denied still, even as captain.
What was that?
Honestly, I started as Canadian and ended as Russian.
So a Russian.
Let's just do a Russian, eh? I want the wolf to be denied still, even as captain.
Here's the thing. I think that you should probably work for CBS.
CIA?
No,
CBS.
CBS. I think you should work for CBS and actually be the person to design all the alien accents.
They're all going to sound the same.
No, well, you sound different with them. And this is the beauty of it. None of them are identifiable. That's the point. You sound like that's an alien accent.
There is nobody on Earth that sounds like Bird of Prey 5.
See, like that was like, what, a little bit of Eastern Europe and Australian? Only you can mix those.
I have no idea.
That's what gives you such incredible talent. Is you're the only person that can create new accents on the fly.
Last night I had to cough, but I didn't, and I started talking with a completely different voice. Like even Mama Pray's like, "What the hell are you doing? Like, how did you do that?" And I coughed it up, and I was like, "I don't know. I can't do it again, though." Like even when I was saying it myself, like, "Oh my God, it sounds like a third person is speaking."
Maybe you were possessed temporarily.
Possible.
All right, let's bring the main screen back up so we can watch you poop again. Because everybody likes watching Bird of Prey 5 dropping his stuff. Hey, you got it all in the jar that time. Good job.
Three nuclear vessels. Nuclear vessels. I'm looking for the nuclear vessels in Elemita. Nuclear vessel.
That's a really horrible. I mean, that's an accent that makes Chekhov's accent look good.
Rank Admiral.
So yes, Bird of Prey, inventor of accents.
I miss Chekhov. Yeah, Spartan. He's not dead. I mean, we could get Chekhov.
Obviously, Walter Koenig is still alive. Yes.
Yeah, we could get Walter Koenig in Picard.
Why would he be in Picard though?
He went through wormhole, and I showed up here.
You don't.
I claim this wormhole in the name of Mother Russia. I don't know.
All right, so I think we are going to wrap it up because Bird and I need to do our official reviews, which means mine will be out in a few hours. Bird's will be out in a few days. But Ryan wants you to do a Scottish accent.
Scottish, aye. I'm from the Highlands of Scotland, and we be drinking the Scotch and fighting the Irish up here.
Why are they fighting the Irish?
Don't you fight the Irish if you're Scottish?
No, you fight the English.
Oh, then we fight the English too. Bastards. We fight everybody. Our real Scotsmen fight everybody.
Now you're starting to sound like a German Scot. You see?
I tried to sound like Groundskeeper Willie, the most famous Scotsman that ever was.
You think Groundskeeper Willie is the most famous Scotsman?
Oh yeah, definitely. Wait, why does Groundskeeper Willie wear a kilt if he's Scottish?
I remember the first
Scottish people wear kilts.
Yes, Scottish people wear kilts, but I think that Scotty is a more famous Scotsman than Groundskeeper Willie.
Well, Willie has been in 382 episodes. How many episodes has Scotty been in?
That's not the point.
Well,
No, Scots fight Scots and then blame the English. Get it right. Sorry, Jeremy.
Yeah, I know Checo's been in a couple of fan films, but not anymore, apparently.
What, did he say he's not going to do anymore?
No, but now the rules are no professional actors in fan films.
Oh, that's true.
Even though I don't know how they could enforce that, but...
Desmond puts in another super chat, so you got another accent for us?
Edmund Picard denying Worf would be all canon.
Wow, what was that?
I have no idea.
Okay. See, that's what I'm saying. You could create these accents for these aliens.
Edmund Picard denying Worf would be no canon. All canon. All canon.
See, and if you did that, nobody could accuse the show of being racist because they couldn't identify what accent that was.
What place I'm making fun of, yeah.
So Admiral Picard denying Worf would be all canon. I don't quite get that.
The meme is Worf always denied. Everything Worf tried to do, Picard said no.
Yeah.
It's well-known TNG meme.
Yeah, well, I understand Worf, from the very beginning, I'm a Klingon, sir, sit down. Okay. That's why I didn't like Worf in TNG. Worf didn't get a chance to really be a badass until Deep Space Nine. And a little bit in the TNG movies.
So they can be in fan films if they do it for free.
Okay.
Possibly.
But even you're not going to get them for free. These are professionals, and they and there are certain, like, they're all members of SAG, and there are certain rules about doing that kind of thing for free. Like, you can do free stuff for charity and stuff like that, but I don't think fan films are considered that. All right, so do you have any parting words for us, Bird? Any words of wisdom to impart upon our wonderful audience of 92 people about Picard and yourself?
I will be working on my Star Trek Picard review. If you do not know me, I am Birdo Prey 5. I have a channel, Birdo Prey 5.
You should put your channel in the chat.
Yes, I will put my channel in the chat. And I do mostly Star Trek stuff, but I also do daily live streams. I'd love to see.
And if you like Bird of Prey's weird sense of humor that you've been experiencing through this night, then you should check out his daily live stream, because Bird is one of the most entertaining people on YouTube, and I absolutely mean that. I love, even though usually when he's live streaming, I'm working, which sucks, but when I'm not working, I will sit there and watch a Bird of Prey 5 stream from start to finish. I lurk all the time whenever I can, and because you're just so fun to listen to. I wish I had that level of entertainment in me. Jerk.
You're welcome. Carlos says 9 out of 10 for Picard. And Anti-Tracker. Oh, and Anti-Tracker and Bird of Prey 5. Well, thank you, Carlo.
So you and I are on the same level as Picard then, which means half the people out there hate us.
No, I think he's averaging. Like, Picard was a 7, you're a 9, and I'm a 10 and a half.
10 and a half, 9, and 7 don't average to 9.
Whatever. It rounds.
You would have to be an
11.
11, yeah. But we all know that's not. Because really what he's saying is that Picard was like a 7, you are like a 2, and then I'm a 20. I think that's what he really meant. Oh, fuck it, was 3 plus 3 plus 3 equals 9. That's probably what it was.
That's where you end it. It's not going to get better than that.
All right, guys, have a good one. Thanks for hanging out with us, and we'll both have reviews out as soon as possible.
Kaplal. Okay, he says 9.
You can still talk. Oh, he hung up.
Your way with the nerds today takes everything you've got. Taking a break from hating
man, this is the
would
night.
help a lot.
Thank you, Bird. Seriously, thank you for hanging out with me. I know you're still there, even though you're a dick.
You wanna go where all the Trekkies know your name, and they're always
And this is not the best song ever.
where Star Trek isn't lame. You wanna go where everybody knows your name. Turds of a feather flock together, that's what we believe. We know a place that's got you covered, a place to get relief. Wouldn't you like to say me poo? Sometimes you wanna go where Turnistannies know your name, and all Kurogans are to blame. You wanna be where you can see Kuroga go up in flames. You wanna go where everybody knows your name.
You son of a bitch, anti-tracker!